Hey, Feen.
Yeah.
I bet you wanted to open this, but I know the only way that we can open this one.
Okay.
Oh shit, their eyes are so big, Feen.
The eyes are really big.
Their eyes are really big, Feen.
It's a really big. That was like we did a little watch party of the OVA, and that was the first thing everyone said when they saw the characters was, "Oh my god, their eyes, they're so big."
Now, who are we talking about? Who are we talking about who have eyes so big?
The characters from Magic Knight Rayearth, which is the thing that I have read and watched, and I will now be telling you about.
Okay, wait. To be clear,
Yes.
You read the manga and watched the OVA. You did
Yes.
not watch the whole TV series.
No, because there's just too much of it. I realize that does mean I'm missing out on what is some probably quite good filler content. But it just isn't possible to do a slushy about that much content. It'll just take too long.
Yeah, I want to say a couple years ago, I tried to watch it again, and it is extremely 90s pacing and very budget.
Yeah.
So it's like we spent a whole episode on they walk around the woods and then Umi gets a weapon or something, and I was like, oh yeah, the 90s.
Yeah. It was fine when you had other things to do, when you would just watch a bit of Dragon Ball Z before school, and it would be day 2 of 5 of Goku charging a spirit bomb. That was kind of okay because it was you got to also have breakfast, put your clothes on, go to school.
And it's also just so cool because you'd never seen people charge spirit bombs before. It's amazing. but then by your 50th spirit bomb, I mean, we could skip the preamble just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. They kind of did that eventually in Dragon Ball in terms of people becoming Super Saiyans. It was such a big, long ordeal. Goku at first, and then 2 seasons later, it's whoops. Well,
I still can't believe it's just a thing that's continuing to go on and escalate, Feen. People were talking about who should the next main character be, and multiple of the suggestions, I was like, those are both Gohan, right? How are those not both Gohan? I don't understand.
Anyway, Rayearth. Sorry, we're here to talk about Rayearth.
This isn't about Dragon Ball Z, it's about Rayearth. So what the fuck is a Rayearth, Feen?
A Rayearth? Well, it depends on if you were talking about the manga or the OVA, because it changes a little bit. What Rayearth actually is a shoujo manga. It's sort of an isekai, and it's sort of a mech thing, but it's also sort of a magical girl thing. Mm-hmm. And it's all of these things because it's Clamp, is my understanding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so tell me, what is your familiarity with Clamp and their crimes?
Very low, to be honest. I don't think I've actually watched any Clamp stuff or read any Clamp stuff before I got to this, but I was sort of told beforehand that, Rayearth is a good example of what Clamp's go is, which is let's just do everything we feel like doing right now.
Yes. Okay, so for anyone who's not a scholar of anime, Clamp is a group of 4 girls who originally started as a doujin circle and eventually became a whole mangaka team. They're fucking nuts. They've done a ton of properties you've definitely heard of. Fucking Cardcaptor Sakura, very important.
Oh.
Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, X 1999, Rayearth. They've done so much shit. And it's interesting. Holic, of course, which I always want to call it XXX Holic, and then I have to remember that the X's are silent because anime is stupid. But they have a few different styles depending on who the main artist on a given project is. And basically, they're incredibly fucking powerful in terms of they just do whatever the fuck they want, and they're insane. And they'll drop projects. X was super popular, and they just never finished it. They just fuck it. I guess they got bored. And they just do things with 50 different premises at once because you can tell they're excited about D&D and magical girls and mechas, and so they're gonna do all those things because they're excited about it.
Well, that's where Rayearth comes from. They finished the Shiuden novels. The editor's running Nakiyoshi, which is an ongoing shoujo manga magazine, which is where Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura came from and everything. Just asked them to pitch something. And so they said, okay, well, right now we're really into robots. We're really into, role-playing games. And then to sort of counterbalance that, we figured we'd chuck some fantasy and sort of magical girl shit into it too. That's where Rayearth came from.
Yeah, because I don't know about the manga, but the beginning of the anime is very someone's been playing D&D or something, because it very much has that vibe of they're leveling up and the character classes.
Oh, no, 100%. The manga is exactly the same. In terms of just, you're right at the start they're saying, we're going to give you some armor that will grow with you as you as your hearts grow. And that's the way the weapons work too and everything else. I've got to say, I was not completely sure about doing a slushy about this at first because the manga's broken up in 2 parts, and I think the anime is roughly follows the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the first half is quite straightforward until the end. Like there kind of isn't much to it, like it's sort of because there's a twist. There's a big twist coming right at the end of part 1.
Yeah.
But it's sort of up until that point, it really is just like straight up. Yep, they're doing stuff. They're leveling up. Someone tells them go there. They go there. They get some more stuff. It's really, it's very, very straightforward.
Oh yeah, so I should make something clear. So I watched chunks of the anime back in the day. I actually was just looking through my old VHS tapes, and I have some VHSs of them.
Oh wow!
I don't know if they even still work anymore, but yeah. So like, I had a vague familiarity with it, and I had some random issues of the comic. And it was so far in my past that I remember in the comic they like regularly go chibi mode, and I didn't understand what that was when I read it. So I kept being like, who are these little fairy people who always seem to be like around with them? Especially because it was in the second half, so like they're in those mecha voids a lot of the time,
Yeah.
So I was like, who are these little gals?
Yeah, there is a lot of like pretty, how'd you put it? Stock standard anime comedy in terms of that someone gets angry and they all turn into chibis and run around. People's legs do be turning into spinning things as they run around up.
I thought you were going to say into very, very long.
Oh, that too. Yeah, that definitely happens. There's especially the OVA. Fuck, there's some fucking shoujo leggy in there.
Yeah, so I've never seen any of the OVA, and I've read chunks of the manga, and I know the last page of the manga because that always stuck in my memory. But otherwise, like, there's some things that I'm generally familiar with, but I don't know like overall all the plot and everything.
Yeah, the last page of the second half of the manga is quite notable for how goofy it is. Anyway, so okay. I suppose this is the sort of thing we'll do where it's like we'll just talk about the show itself for a few minutes and pitch it at you, and if you want to go look at it, you can, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 girls, Hikaru, Umi, and Fu. Yeah. All of their the kanji in their names being like fire and wind.
Umi's sea. That's very straightforward naming.
Yeah. Hikaru is the enthusiastic one who's just like up for stuff and good with animals.
Main character.
Well, yeah, mostly. Yeah, like because it's meant to be about the 3 of them and their friendship and shit. But like Karu is kind of the main one.
Yeah, and she's the fire one. She really has the like leader vibes.
Well, she's also the one that gets like super stoic. When the leader needs to be there, she's like
Yeah.
For the sort of Genki enthusiastic one is also frequently the most level-headed one, which is kind of an odd contrast. She's also when they go chibi mode, she's frequently a cat. They give her cat ears.
That's right.
It's very important. Yeah. And like you'll see characters like interacting with her ears and pulling at them and stuff. So I don't know.
See, you can see why this confused me as a child because I was not yet familiar with all this anime bullshit.
So Umi is the elegant one.
Yeah, she's Weiss.
Yeah. No, let's not. Things just happened. We don't want to talk about it.
Oh no! But like I remember back in the day when one of the first things that Weiss reminded me of when we learned what her character was. I was like, oh, this is kind of like Umi from Rayearth, and because she is that kind of character.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, she goes to like a fancy school. She's a fencer. She fences because that's one of the first things when they get sucked into the world that they get sucked into is she mentions she has to be back for a fencing championship, and Fu's like, oh, fencing, that's very elegant, and Umi's like, it is elegant, which I kind of appreciate it. But the thing with her is that she's also the hothead. Mm-hmm. Like she is frequently the one who yells about things.
She's a haughty Ojo-sama.
Yeah, she's a haughty Ojo-sama, but she's also the one who does the anime joke of something happens and she yells about how ridiculous it is.
Oh no.
She spends a lot of the first half of this story doing that.
She is cool looking though. I remember always thinking that she looked rad as fuck.
All of their designs are great, but so here's the thing. Fu, the third one.
Nerd.
Fu is far and away for me the most interesting of the 3.
Oh ho.
And I like her design the best as well.
Oh ho ho.
She's the good, conscientious student.
She's the glasses one.
She is the weirdo of the 3 in a lot of ways. In that she just tends to have a sort of odd take on things occasionally, or can be convinced to do fucked up things if someone gives her a good explanation. But because this is the thing that's fun about her is that she's very conscientious. She cares about everyone. She's very quiet and stuff. But she is a cold, cutthroat bitch when she wants to be.
Hella.
which is fun. I don't know. I really like that. I just like that. I like that contrast.
Yeah.
All that being said, the other thing about them is and I think this is one of those things that kind of it makes it very shoujo-y and appealing to that sort of crowd is that all of the girls are like nice. Like there's no sort of like bitchy shittiness between any of them. They're all just really nice girls.
Yeah, I mean, in the fun way, they might have some bitchy shittiness, but you know, they're good kids.
Yeah. Well, like there's moments of little goofy things, like when they first meet Clef, who's like this sorcerer who's very short, and the other thing about Hikaru is that she's also short compared to the other two. Hikaru and Clef get on okay at first, and the other two are talking and going, they seem to get on well. Is it because they're both short?
Tiny baboo.
So these three girls get sucked into the world of Cephiro. Now, Cephiro is populated by several fantasy characters. There is Princess Emerald, who is the pillar of Cephiro, who keeps the place going on the basis of her prayers.
Wait, isn't it Cephiro?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It might be Cephiro or Cephiro. I don't know.
Whatever. Fantasy word.
Yeah. There's Guru Clef, who's the best sorcerer on Cephiro. He's very grumpy.
And he looks like a little guy.
There's a weapons forger called Precia. There's the mascot character, Makona.
Makona is very important and has transcended into other clamp properties because it's a very iconic design.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, canonically, there's possibly a reason. I guess that could make sense.
yeah, because Makona has become very, like, there's a white Makona and a black Makona that are very important in both Holic and Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles and kind of like bridge the two in a telepathic way. So, I know Makona's like very powerful in some way, but I don't know like what the fuck it actually was. I don't remember that. So you'll have to tell me about
that comes out in part 2. I'll explain it to you.
But yeah, it looks kind of like a Pokemon little bunny guy. I love him.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, very simple, solid design. Just a sort of furry egg thing with big ears that goes poo a lot.
Poo, 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 poo.
There's Ferio, who's some sort of Kudere boy with a little scar across his nose, so you know that he's kind of dark.
Oh, is he the green one?
Yes, he's the green one.
Because I remember them introducing love interest for the girls, and I was like, whose love interest? Because green.
Yeah, and well, I mean, he's the most like by the end, all the girls get a boy of some sort.
Yeah.
But he gets paired up with Fu very quick, and it's kind of cute, but it's also that man.
Green recognized green.
They weren't showing away. Yeah, the three girls who don't know each other, they were all part of a school trip to Tokyo Tower.
The most dramatic place you can go, very important for destiny.
Well, it's kind of funny because all of Hikaru's friends are talking about how this is kind of a lame school trip. It's like, God, why here? Jesus.
You don't understand.
Well, they're just all going, this is what a lame, shitty tourist trap, and then they hear Hikaru scream because she's playing with one of the sets of binoculars, you put a coin into and you can look around.
Yeah.
And she's very excited. She's very excited to be at Tokyo Tower.
God, Tokyo Tower is really important to other Clamp things too. This is another thing. Clamp likes to reuse stuff.
Well, I mean, Tokyo Tower pops up in a lot of anime. I don't know.
I know.
It's one of those things.
But I'm telling you, Clamp, they like to reuse characters. They like to, I mean, that's what Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles was like. What if we just put all the characters, again, in the same property, but like maybe even multiple copies of them, maybe even a bunch of them.
I'm very down for these people to just like, fuck it in best way, It's fun.
Yeah, it has very big like webcomic or whatnot energy. It's just like, are there editors present? I don't know. Apparently they have no power over these women.
Well, yeah, they mention, the wiki mentions that when they came up with the entire concept of Rayearth before pitching it, the editors had no hand in it whatsoever. They just came forward and said, here's what we want to do. And they were like, oh, okay.
You can't stop them.
But yeah, these three girls who don't know each other, who are all part of different, school trips to the tower, just happen to be standing next to each other, and they get sucked into the world of Cephiro.
Oh yeah, wait, are they middle schoolers or high schoolers?
Middle schoolers. The
Okay,
middle
that's what I
schoolers in
thought,
every
yeah.
version of the story. Yeah, it's 90s shoujo, so they don't look like middle schoolers.
Yeah, they're 9
12.
foot tall middle schoolers.
Yeah. But yeah, they all get sucked into Cephiro and are told they can't go back until they help out the princess who summoned them there. So that's the instigating thing. Like when I say like this is an isekai, I mean obviously it's years before isekai became the thing that it is now.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny in terms of like the way that isekai these days is very codified in terms of you get pulled into a world and it's like a fucking video game. This thing is exactly that. Like the characters will talk about how it's like a video game quite a bit.
God, that's true. They really were ahead of their time, those trendsetters.
I mean, I don't know. I would assume there was other stuff around like this at the time. But like, it is kind of funny that like this was well before even just mentioning that part of it got a bit pap. Even not to say that some of these guys don't do it anyway now, but still.
Oh, everyone still does.
Like I say, the first half of this story, part 1, is very straightforward. But it's a fun enough time with the girls, getting to know each other a bit and just traveling through this world and getting power-ups and better armor and a cool sword and eventually mechs. That's the other thing. They do eventually get some big mechs.
Yeah.
And then, the end of part 1 is a big twist. And then part 2 is a bit more interesting just because it is like, it's kind of the writers trying to work out how to continue the story after what happens at the end of part 1.
I was gonna say, like, does it have the vibes of they got kind of bored with what they were doing in part 1 and decided to go fucking buck wild?
They claim that the plan for part 1 was always the plan in terms of how it ended.
Oh,
but they did say that part 1 was really easy to write. Part 2, they felt like they put themselves in a corner, which. Yeah, a little bit.
Well, I'm glad they still finished it. I'm proud of them.
They make an effort with the ending of part 2. Like I said, it is. I think it's a bit more interesting. This is still a fairly basic sort of story, but it's cute enough. The characters are fun. The OVA.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about this except that more of it takes place in the real world or something.
Yes, it's like, so this time it's a reverse isekai because Cephiro comes to Earth, and it's just them in the mix, and it's like knowing more about Clampus makes more sense now because the fucking OVA is just like a weird fanfic riff on the original story that really needed more time than an OVA could give it because it's only 3 40-minute episodes. It moves so fast. It really is just for fans to go, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And they'd be like, yeah, I guess. And then it's over.
Is it, how is it like animation wise and stuff? Because it's OVA, a lot of times those look pretty good.
It looks a lot better than the anime. Yeah, it looks quite nice. There's some cool robot fights in it and stuff, and some interesting shit in it. It's still not like super impressive, but it's like it is nicer. It's also tonally a lot darker than the show.
Hella.
And a bit more violent and stuff.
That's the other thing with Clamp, they like to get fucked.
It's a touch more fucked than than the show itself. I just think it gave me, I mean, boss baby moment, but it gave me slight Eva vibes in terms of the tone of it and the way the mechs work this time.
I was gonna say, because I heard people saying that it seemed Eva inspired. Actually, would you deny such a claim?
I wouldn't. No, I mean, it took a little bit of the aesthetic from it, I think.
Ooh. So would you suggest I watch it, for instance? Because it sounds interesting.
I don't know if you should watch it, to be honest. I don't know if I can recommend it just because it does move incredibly quickly to the point where it's a bit incomprehensible.
You think I can't keep up? You think I can keep up?
Well, I'm just saying, like, we did a watch party of it in the server, and there were people who left after part 1 because they're just like, I've got no idea what's going on, I'm going. I was like, yeah, it's fair. I think if you're really familiar with with Rayearth, you will see the characters, but you will still be going, wait, why are the relations changed, and why is this guy doing this now? And
it just cuts to Claim going, wee.
Basically, like that is the vibe you get, and it's not bad. It's just sort of, you do come away from the whole thing going, okay,
I'm tired.
Sure, yeah, kinda, yeah. I'm glad I watched it, but I'm also like, I don't know if I'd ever tell anyone to go watch it. I will say as well, in terms of the Eva stuff, and this is just a dub thing, it didn't seem to be in the other versions of the translations, but when they get in the mechs, like in the subs, they just say, Fu mentions like, this is what's like inside the mech. In the dub, Fu says, I'm in the womb of the mech. And I'm like, all right, guys. Okay.
That almost seems like something that could be like an over-literally translation of something or something.
It might be, yeah, I don't know. Either way.
What?
Yeah.
Now I actually want to watch it. I want to see this crazy ass bullshit. I want to see them wilding out.
I will warn you before you watch the OVA. There's a lot more of the girl. Like when the girls are in the mechs this time, they're nude.
Yeah,
nudity with no details, and they do bleed a lot. And there are lots of shots of them sort of cowering as they're hurt, covered in blood, nude. And I'm sort of like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
Could have done without that.
Yeah, I know the anime had some of that too. When they kind of have magical girl transformations, but they just like get little pieces of armor on top of themselves and stuff. Like especially in the OP and stuff, you'll see like the magical nudity and stuff of the 90s a lot. Yeah.
The nudity in the OVA in the mechs is like all it really is like they're nude, but there's no detail. Like apart from like shading, but there's no nipples or anything else. Like you just can't see anything on them.
Yeah,
it's really
a very 90s
stupid
way that they avoid doing now and things that aren't for adults because it's weird.
Yeah, well, it's also because they're still, technically middle schoolers, even though they don't look like them.
Yeah, but obviously it wasn't meant to be like a sexual thing back then. It was just culture changes, and then they find out that all the horny men are watching, and they should probably do other things with their symbology. You
do kind of get the feeling it was meant to just be like sort of like dark and cool. Like that when things are nude, because when someone's nude, it's like, oh, that's confronting, as opposed to it being sexual. Yeah. But then at the same time, it's like,
No, yeah, it's like in the old Sailor Moon scenes when like people were in the My Soul-averse, and you're really seeing their introspection, and so of course they're nude. Like that used to just be what you do because it's like you're nude in your solo realm or whatever.
Yeah. But But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was still always a little bit sus of it, but anyway.
No. Culture.
Anyway, if you are up for watching something that, like I say, is a bit straightforward but also a bit wild, and you like that sort of magical girl type stuff, and if you like 90s shit, because it's quite 90s, it could be worth your time, yeah. You can't really call it a straight up magical girl thing. It's got elements of that, but it's not really the focus, or like aesthetically or tonally or story wise or anything. It really is much more of like what you would expect from a more modern isekai, except they get transforming stuff and get to ride around in robots as well.
Yeah. So there's magical girl like visual cues and stuff, but it's not really going for the other aspects of the magical girl genre specifically.
Not really, no. Apart from themes of friendship, but
that's everything. It's anime.
Okay, so yeah, like I say, spoilers from this point. So yeah, the three girls just sort of bump into each other. It's kind of funny because like Hikaru and Fu actually do have an interaction because Hikaru runs out of coins for the binoculars on Tokyo Tower. And Fu just comes and like puts another coin in and says, I was just really enjoying watching how happy you were. So, keep going.
Ooh, small child. Because don't they think she's like an elementary schooler or something?
Yes, later on her and Umi were like, oh yeah, I thought you were an elementary schooler I was giving a coin to, not someone the same age as me.
Yeah, because she's small.
Yeah. She's not that small even compared to them, but anyway. She's like a head smaller than the two of them. But
yeah,
anyway.
she's no clef.
So yeah, like Hikaru goes off to follow her to say hello, and they just happen to cross in front of another school, which is this elite school, which is where Umi is. Oh. And Umi just sort of steps out, and the three of them are just kind of looking at each other. And again, it's like Fu and Umi and Hikaru and Umi have not talked. They've just kind of looked at each other, and then all of a sudden, bright light. And they're sucked into the world of Cephiro. Right before this, we saw this very sad-looking child princess with very long hair. This Princess Emerald. Calling to them, saying, Magic Knights, answer my summons. Da-da-da.
I'm a magic princess.
Yeah, now they enter Cephiro, which is like they start falling from the sky, as one does.
You must.
They can see a big volcano, and there's a floating palace of some sort, and there's an ocean, and they're like, where the fuck? And then they're caught by a giant flying fish.
Yeah.
They just land on the back of a big giant fish. And like the fish just like takes them down on the ground and drops them off. And Umi and Fu are both kind of scared of it, but Hikaru immediately goes up and hugs it, and the fish is like, eh.
It's a good fish.
Yeah, because this is this ongoing thing is that Hikaru is like just cool with animals and also just assumes the best of everyone.
Yeah, she pure woo.
Yeah, and then they immediately meet Clef, who is this tiny sorcerer elf man. Kind of looks like David Bowie in Labyrinth, except a lot shorter. Got a big staff.
That would not have occurred to me.
He's immediately sick of the girls already, is kind of his go, because he's just a huge fucking grump.
Is he like 400 years old or some shit?
Yeah, he's real old. Yeah, he mentions that. Like he's not human. He's one of those sort of higher beings who has been around for ages, and he's here to kick off the quest. Like explains to them that they're saying send us home. He's saying I can't. You got to save Cephiro. You've been summoned here. You're the Magic Knights. Yeah,
like they're presented as like the princess has been kidnapped, right?
Yeah, he tells them about that. So yeah, the princess has been kidnapped by her high priestess, Sagato, who is a dude who looks like he's come straight off a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
He does.
He's just big black swirly armor and lots of gems.
There's lots of very powerful shoulder pads in this series. Oh, there's like two clamp artists. There's like the cutesy one and there's the shoulders one. And this was the shoulders one.
So many shoulder pads. I mean, even Clef has them, and he's also got the big sort of, 90s anime hair that sort of, like, just sort of spreads out from the top of his head. You know, like a hat. Yeah, no, they say, like, every other powerful person from Cephiro has gone and tried to, stop Zagato from whatever the fuck he's up to. They're all dead. But the reason you guys can do it is because you guys, the Magic Knights, can summon the Rune Gods.
Manga.
So you need to find the Rune Gods and then go beat him up.
Manga.
They of course, they're all kind of like, look, can we not just go home? And is it no? And is it, why there's this us and saying, well, the Knights, this is what you do. Hikaru is quite up for it, obviously, because that's kind of her thing.
Yeah.
He gets them outfitted with some starter armor and gives them some magic. Or no, he gives Hikaru magic to begin with, because they all get this little orb that appears on the back of their hand, like a little gem.
That's right. And it lets her cast Fireball level 1, right?
Yeah. It was Fire Arrow, technically. Oh. Yeah. Now, they're about to talk some more, but there's a sexy lady sorceress who turns up on a big horse.
Yeah.
A flying horse.
Yeah, 90s skimpy villainous lady. You got to have some of those.
This is Alcyone, and I feel bad for Alcyone because she gets a fucking raw deal in every version of this story.
Oh, no.
But yeah, anyway, so someone's here to attack, and so before Clef can tell them anything but the most basic information, he chucks them on the fish I think, or maybe a horse or something else, a big bird of some sort, and says, okay, you've got to go to the Forest of Silence, you've got to find Pressia, she's going to give you weapons and this thing called Makona. Anyway, go, bye. And just sort of fucks them off.
I guess with the idea that he's like, I'll hold her off.
Yeah. And he sort of does, but like Alcyone and him have a chat. Alcyone turns out is like formerly Clef's apprentice. But they have a brief chat, and then Alcyon's like, I don't have to stay here. And she just follows the girls. But then Hikaru, upon seeing these new friends of hers in danger, pulls out her first spell, which is, some sort of fire arrow. It kills Alcyon's horse, and she falls down.
Wait, you say it kills her horse. It's like a summon thing, right? Like her and Clef have like summon familiars or something?
Yeah. All sorcerers, their main thing seems to be they can summon big beasts as well as do some magic.
Yeah.
So, like, Umi and Hikaru are both saying we should go back and help Clef because, like, Alcyone might still be fucking with him. And this is, like, Fu's first moment of, like, no, we're not going back. He sent us off. This is what he wanted. Even if he ends up dead, we're going on. And they're like, yeah, okay, fair.
Follow the main quest line, please.
Do not get distracted by side quests.
No.
So they get to the Forest of Silence. Every section has a name like this. It's great.
Video games.
The thing about the Forest of Silence is you can't use magic in it.
But you just got the magic.
When they arrive there, though, before they go into the forest, they find a house. They think about going inside, and Fu was saying, like, we shouldn't trespass. But the second that Umi is like, well, you don't know, maybe trespassing's okay in this world. And Fu's like, okay. And she just goes in and starts snooping around everywhere. Because she's odd like that.
Yeah.
They sort of make a note of saying there's this lock on the door, and when they go to open it, it just opens. So they go inside. But they hear a rustling in this office room, and they go inside, and there's an evil egg chair. And the egg chair spins around. And it's Makona. He's in the egg chair. The egg-shaped thing is in the egg chair. But then also a cage falls on them. They're trapped. And Pressia runs in. This is Pressia's house. She's the weapons maker. And she... At first, like, it's clear she was trying to capture Makona because he keeps fucking with her shit and making a mess. Then she realizes she's trapped these girls, and they argue for a bit. But they mention in passing that the door was unlocked. And she's like, Clef made that lock. No one in Cephiro can open that lock, except for the Magic Knights. So now she knows the Knights. So she explains to them. So that's their first quest done. Tick. Second quest. She explains that she's going to make some weapons for them, but to do that, to make the weapons they'd need to fight Zagato, it can't just be any weapon. They need weapons that are made from legendary ore.
I need 5 boar tusks. And
It's just so straightforward.
It's amazing.
It really made me laugh when in that little chunk of the interview where they said, "Oh yeah, we found the first half of this really easy to write." I'm just like, no shit.
Yeah, you're really pulling your writing legs on this one. Oof. Gotta do some stretches after all that.
So in order to get the legendary ore, it can only be found in the Spring of Eternia, so they got to go find the Spring of Eternia. But luckily, Makona knows where it is, so they can just follow Makona. Like, there's a thing with him where he's like, he only says poo, 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 poo. Kara's like, I can understand him. And they're like, really? And she's like, kinda.
She speaks Pokemon.
Yeah, so they just kind of follow her. Pressia takes them to a room full of weapons and says, pick something out you like. And the girls all find something that sort of works with them. This is funny because like at first it seems like we're getting a nice mix of weapons where like...
I remember this being very weird. Because, like Fu has a bow and arrow, right?
Yeah, Fu has a bow and arrow. Hikaru gets a nice big sword. Umi gets a fencing sword, which makes sense because she fence. Yeah. And then but later on when they get the actual weapons, it's a bit different. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Anyway, so yeah, but the weapons, they don't need to carry them around because they just sort of into the gems.
Yeah, into their item box.
Yeah, they'll come out when you need them. Also, Makona can do a bunch of stuff. He's got everything you need, and they just get pushed into the forest. So the second they get into the forest, they find a monster. They beat it up with their new swords. They take a moment to go, hey, just real quick, can I get your names again? Because again, these girls have been together for about half an hour.
Busy.
Yeah, they talk about the honorifics they want to use, which is meant to be sort of, show a bit of characterization. Because
I assume Hikaru doesn't want any honorifics because they're already best friends.
Yeah, so Hikaru goes straight to no honorifics. Fu insists on continuing to use this, like, San, but that's her way of showing respect. Umi decides to use Chan for the two of them. So, yeah. And anyway, but no, another monster attacks, but then the monster is destroyed. And it's destroyed by something we haven't seen so far. A boy. It's Ferio. It's Green Boy.
Green.
Now, at first, they're kind of like, don't know about this guy, but Makona likes him. He jumps up and, hugs him. So Kara's like, well, Makona likes him, so he's cool.
Comes up and says, poo.
He's also looking for ore, and he's good with monsters. So yeah, he's looking for legendary ore.
He's also on a gathering quest. What can I say? It's useful for crafting.
He's also farming. He just pulled some 4-star weapons he wants to level.
Party up.
This is Fu's first moment of kind of ice coldness because the party and him are all kind of wary of each other, and he's about to sort of piss off. But Fu, with a lovely angelic smile on her face the entire time, kind of just bluffs him into being their bodyguard. Because the thing is that Makona hasn't told them where this spring is. They just know that he kind of knows, but he's not been helpful. But she just sort of bluffs him and says, well, look, we do know, but, if we go by ourselves, we're pretty defenseless, we'll get killed. Oh. And then, you won't know where it is either, so I guess you better come along with us.
Yeah.
And he's just like, ugh.
Nice charisma roll.
I guess that's true.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a persuasion check.
The whole thing is that these two are sort of facing off, and it's kind of like, But then, like, almost immediately there's another monster fight, and then Ferio knocks Fu out of the way, and it's that thing of she's on the ground, and he's like, crouched over her with his hand right by her head, sort of cubbygoning her against the ground. And, he said, like, get out of the way, you idiot, or something, and she's like, well, that's the first time I've been called an idiot.
I like it.
Well, she's starting smiling because that amuses her, and he says to her, you seem vicious before, but that smile of yours is awfully cute. Yeah, Fu immediately gets, extremely blushy, and then he heads off and...
Oh, wait, is the monster still alive waiting around because talking is a free action?
No, the monster's dead. They killed the monster. The other girls go like, Fu, is everything okay? And of course she gets up and she's flustered and walks the wrong way and blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. They get to the end of the forest. And then Umi immediately gets, actually this is, in another Weiss type move, Umi immediately gets the shit kicked out of her by Alcyone, who was waiting for them.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was waiting for them to exit the forest because she couldn't use her magic in the forest like them. But obviously now that they're out, she can.
Wait, so have either of the other girls used their magic by this point, or has only Hikaru's magic still?
It's only Hikaru who's actually deployed magic, or has even been given magic at this point.
Oh.
Because like she and Clef had to have a convo to get the magic. The other two just haven't done that yet.
I see.
So they just don't have any magic. Now we find out what Alcyon's motivation is for siding with Zagato, and it's because she loves him, which is boring. I just sort of dull.
Look, she just appreciates a fellow edgy, black wearing shoulder pad, emo person.
Now, and so at first she's like, so Umi's very badly injured. So Hikaru is, now that they've spent some more time being friends, she is powered up further by the power of friendship and is sort of holding Alcyone off. Now, Umi wants to help. So Makoto does a very Sailor Moon thing, which is he walks up to Umi and out of the little gem that's on his forehead just shines onto Umi's face. And now she can talk to Clef via this Makoto phone.
Makona phone. Beep, boop, beep,
yeah.
Boop.
Yeah, and he's just like, do you want magic? And she's like, yes. And he goes, cool. And she gets water magic. And she deploys this dragon of water that makes Alcyone go the fuck away.
Wait, it's a fucking water dragon for her first spell?
Yeah, it's like it's a type of like, but it's not like a full summon sort of thing. It's just like a big water spell that hits you and it's shaped like a dragon.
Yeah, it's like when Jupiter uses Great Thunder Dragon or whatever. It's just like, it's thunder, but it's in the shape of a dragon, so it's cooler.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
They go over to check on Umi, who still seems like she's dying because she's bleeding a lot. And Umi has this little line about how, even though she pulled this dragon thing, it's really sapped her. And, Hikaru's saying, why did you do that? Because you were injured. And Umi's like...
Baka.
You just want to, you make people want to help you, because you're like an adorable little sister just throwing yourself at everything.
Ooh.
And so now it's time for Fu. Fu gets on the phone and gets her magic, which is healing magic because it's wind magic, and she heals Umi.
You can't say that.
Well, that's what happens. It's like,
look here, have wind magic, but it heals because we need a healer in the party. I don't know. We need some class diversity. Yeah,
basically. I mean, that's what it is. Like, it just happens that quick. Yeah. That's what I mean about this big, like the manga being straightforward. This is why I was thinking about the anime. Is like I could see this working a bit better because like you would at least have time for the girls to just kind of chat and have fun. Like this is one of those times when filler would actually do quite a bit for a show. It is the kind of thing you see people complaining about filler, and there is an element of like sometimes it was good if it just meant that the girls can get to hang out and stuff.
Yeah,
in these different shows and
some
shit.
breathing room can be created.
Yeah, because like the manga it's not quite as fast as the OVA, but it does move quick. And there are times when it would have been nice to have just a little breathing room because, like, here Hikaru goes on another speech about friendship and how they're definitely best friends now. And at first they're just kind of staring at her and she gets all kind of flustered and embarrassed and like, oh, God, I've gone too hard. Then they both go, God damn it, you are so nice. And that's cool. Ferio at this point has realized to himself that these are the Magic Knights because they didn't tell him that. first up.
Oh, so this is something that, like, I guess everyone knows about as, like, a thing that's supposed to show up at some point?
Some people seem to know about it. Like, well, I mean, it's one of those things where they say, like, only certain people knew about the legend of the Magic Knights, but we don't meet anyone who doesn't. So
Yeah.
it's like the way there's all these citizens of Cephiro that they have to save, but like
We never go to any towns.
we never see a single civilian.
Then you'd have to draw a bunch of people. It's too much trouble.
It's too hard. Ferio fills in a couple of details for them. So he says that the monsters they're fighting, Cephiro used to be a really peaceful place where there were no monsters. There was no reason to have soldiers. There was no war. It was all just, beautiful, idyllic, utopian type fantasy world. But monsters have been turning up more and more. And the monsters are they're manifestations of people's feeling. Because the thing about Cephiro is that everything in Cephiro is based on willpower.
Yeah.
This just makes for the most anime bullshit because like now we actually are in a world where explicitly it's just about willpower. Like you win fights via willpower.
Yeah, you win fights via the most anime bullshit feeling you can recreate.
it's a thing I normally hate when they do. In bad shows, it's that thing of like they win just because they want to win so bad as opposed to they want to win so they figure out something cool to do.
But here they're like, no, it's a mechanic of the world, okay?
Yeah.
It's not just a cheap writing trick. It's something that we made mechanically a cheap writing trick. Clamp.
I will say there are times when they do sort of go to a bit of an effort to, I guess, explore the idea of what that means in terms of what makes one person's will more stronger than others.
Yeah, because they could theoretically like end up with stuff being very fucked and whatnot. Like it could be interesting.
Yeah. Which is sort of what happens, but we'll get to that. Yeah. So anyway, he decides to turn back. He sort of just says, "Look, we agreed to only get you to the edge of the forest." So he's just sort of giving up on getting the ore. He doesn't sort of say it, but he kind of the implication is that well, he thinks these girls are the Magic Knights, so they're going to do it. I can't do it.
Oh.
But what he does do is give Fu one of his earrings and kisses her hand, and she's all blushy again.
It's so shoujo.
It's so straight up.
Such a gentleman.
We cut back to this place where Zagato's hanging out. It's like a little cave room with a bunch of waterfalls.
His evil lair of evil.
Yeah, and like this is the place where like Alcyone stepped out from out of a waterfall when he said Alcyone go kill them. She was like, cool.
Oh, were there a bunch of other people dramatically standing behind waterfalls?
There will be, yes, because because Alcyone comes back and begs for another chance and and he's like, nah, fuck off, and just disintegrates her.
Oh damn!
She dies. Yeah, she's just dead.
Wait, is she actually dead forever now?
Yep. That's what? Like, yeah.
I did not remember this.
This is the thing, right?
Fuck, she loved that guy.
Yeah, she loved him, and so he just kills her. Now, and this is one of those things where I feel like it makes me question how much everything was planned.
Considering what I thought I remembered knowing about him, that does sound surprising to me that he just disintegrated her from her failure.
Yeah, and the other thing, I'll just spoil this now. There are at least there's a couple more villains to go, and they don't die. No one else dies from this point. It very much becomes a sort of redeem the villains type thing.
God.
Except for Alcyone.
Yeah, so she just got that like early installment weirdness of having to actually die. Sorry, girl.
But it also sucks as well. It's the thing of like, it's the really like evil, but highly sexualized adult woman who's like, is always the one that dies, I feel like a lot of the time. Which kind of annoys me. I don't know.
I don't know. In like shoujo stuff, because the super sexy adult woman... Well, I guess it varies. Like, yeah, in Sailor Moon, they would generally end up dying, I guess.
I think it's a thing broader beyond just like shoujo stuff. Like, it just tends to be a thing that, women's sexuality being used as a marker for evil.
Yeah.
And then they get killed. It's a generalized thing. And
it just feels a little different in shoujo to me because, like, you have, you have the good sexy ladies and you have the evil sexy ladies who just have, like, darker outfits and stuff. And it's like, they're just cool, sexy, evil.
But they're also usually there's like the skimpier outfits too.
Yeah.
I think tends to be a thing. Yeah.
But doesn't Precia have a pretty skimpy outfit, or is that only when she's doing her weapon dance?
That's mostly when she's doing her weapon dance. But for the most part, Precia is not that skimpy. There is like one other character we're going to meet who's super skimpy, but he was eventually a good guy.
That's right. Isn't she like tan?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Because I remember her being like, like one of those kinds of characters that you see in anime sometimes, where it's like the skimpy tan one, and there's like maybe possible implications for other things that you want to worry about. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that because it comes up in part 2. So, either way, now that Alcyone's dead, Escort gets a go. Escort is the new villain. He's a little boy.
Oh, the little tough guy.
Yeah. A little boy with a big hat. His thing is he summons monsters. And he's got these monsters he summons. He can make you fight them.
I call him tough because he has his bangs over his eyes, right? You like never see his eyes.
Sometimes you don't, and then sometimes you just can. It changes depending on how emotional he is.
Oh, I see. But because he has that big hat and the hair like that, I always thought that Toph had the same hat in Avatar. But then I found it was her hair. That was fucked up. I thought she had a big hat, like my boy.
I still haven't watched Avatar. I watched Korra, but not Avatar.
Okay, but you've seen Toph, right?
I've seen old Toph.
But do you not know what Toph like looks like? Do you not know the girl that like carries? She's a carry. She carries everything with her incredible BD.
I don't remember.
That's my girl. Anyway, she has a big hair that looks like a hat, but it's not a hat. It's a lie. It's hair.
So they find the spring. Kind of finally leads them to the spring. It's a fucking manga ass joke because they find this. It's just a piece of rock, right? It's a big like mushrooming piece of rock with just a line over the top of it.
I remember the anime version of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're like, where the fuck is this spring? There's no water. But then someone climbs up to look at it from above. And from above, you can see it actually is a pool, but it's only the depth of a line. So when you're standing next to it, it just looks like a line.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a 2D spring thing.
Now, they jump in because that's what they do. And they all get separated into their own little brain space. And they all face off with a loved one. This is
Memories are flooding back. I think I remember each of theirs, and
yeah. So here's the thing: like Hikaru and Umi get something relatively straightforward in terms of like something it's a bit fucked to do. Fu, as is traditional, I think with Fu throughout the story, she gets the more slightly fucked one.
Yeah, because it's her, right?
Yes. Okay. So they have to face off. Yeah. So you meet Hikaru first. She's facing off with her dog Hikari, who she's mentioned earlier that she misses.
I did think it was funny that, like, of course, hers is a dog. She says to fight the dog. No.
Yeah, and because the dog's attacking her, and she's like, "I don't want to fight you." Umi sees her parents, and her parents start using magic and try to kill her, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Fu faces herself. Now it's clear. It's very clear. Like you know from Hikaru and what Umi are facing. It's like they've talked about their dog and their parents respectively about like there's the people they want to get back to when they miss and blah blah blah. So when Fu is just facing herself, it's like this is kind of weird. And the thing about Fu is that when Fu hurts, like damages this dark Fu version of herself, she ends up with the same wounds on her own body.
Motherfucking mirror fight.
Yeah, so it's a mirror fight, and she's like hurting herself. So then they hear the Princess Emerald speak to them, and makes it. She's like, "Listen, these aren't the real people."
Wait, has she spoken to them before? Is this her first time calling them? Besides, like when she called them at the very beginning.
When she called them at the very beginning, they heard her voice and might have seen her for a little bit. This time they see her a bit more clearly and hear her a bit more clearly because she manages like a reasonable conversation with them.
I just like the idea that like now she's like a fucking Navi. She's like, hey, listen, these aren't the real people. You gotta fight them.
Kind of, yeah. She's just like, so like these things are here to make you fall into despair. They aren't real, so you can fight them, so don't fall to despair. Just like kill these things. Cool. So the other two pull out their swords, but like, the Umi and Hikaru are both talking about how, obviously I care about these people. They wouldn't do this to me. They wouldn't hurt me. So obviously they're not real. Fu's is way more roundabout in that she explains that the reason she wouldn't want to hurt herself, but also wouldn't like this version of her can't be her because it wouldn't hurt her, is because she knows how much pain it would cause those who love her if she was hurt or something happened to her.
Damn.
So she has to keep herself safe and healthy for their sake. And there's a whole thing because like, again, Umi and Hikaru are just like getting wounded by these things and having to beat them up. Whereas Fu was like, every time I stab this thing, it hurts me, but I guess I'll just have to heal myself afterwards. So like, so Fu.
But I was gonna say that's also the interesting thing because she had already been physically fighting the other Fu, right? So like she was willing to.
At first, yeah, she was like, yeah, because this thing is a bit stranger, but like, obviously it's not her because it's her,
She's her.
That makes sense. But it becomes this running thing with Fu, which is another thing that intrigues me about her character. I don't know how deliberate this was, but there are several times where Fu talks about she has to keep herself safe or has to, the most important thing to her is that making sure other people don't get hurt by whatever happens to her, or that other people just don't get hurt in general. And there's a running thing. There is a running thing that like it's never about her having any value in herself. It's
interesting because the fact that it's like, oh, a loved one, it's me, you'd think like, oh man, she's very self-centered or whatever.
At first, yeah, but it's
then it becomes the opposite of that.
It's the opposite of that. It's this thing of like other people would get hurt if something to happen to me. So that's my motivation for not letting myself get hurt, not just I don't want to get hurt because I like myself. Like it's a running thing that she doesn't place any value in her own life for her own sake. which is like, it's kind of dark. Like,
yeah,
not something I was really expecting out of this, but it keeps coming up because there's other points where like, there's a point later on in a fight where she wins because she's willing to let herself get killed to protect other people and stuff, which is like a common, anime hero thing. But
yeah, mixed with this, it's like, damn, you seem
you got some stuff going on, Fu.
Yeah. Self-worth issues.
Anyway, they beat those things up. They get the ore, which is like a giant pillar. It's like the sort of thing like Obelix would carry around in Asterix and Obelix comics.
Wait, I mean, it looks like a video game crystal or some shit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's big. It's like the size of them. Like, it's real big.
'Cause I just remember the image of the cloth wrapped around it when she does her weapon dance.
So Pressia appears at the spring when they exit, and she does a little bit of it, like in the manga, it's like a little bit of a magical girl transformation into like a very sort of flowy cloth thing, and she makes them the weapons.
Oh, she just does it right there?
Yeah, she just does it right there. Like,
how convenient.
Yeah, no, it's real simple. Like I said before, it's this thing of, they had a rapier and a sword and a bow, and this time they're all just swords. Yeah. But they're like, but the whole thing is that like, these swords can grow and change with you and stuff. Same as the armor. When they pulled off this thing where they beat up the thing that would look like something they cared about, the armor grew, it got bigger. Because it used to just like cover a little bit of their chest and then one shoulder pad. Now they got both shoulder pads and it covers a bit more and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's a running
ever more
thing.
Powerful shoulder pads.
Yeah, every time they get a little bit of a power up or complete something, the armor keeps getting bigger and bigger.
But yeah, now they all have swords, and for the rest of the series, right? They all just have swords.
Yeah, they just got swords, big swords.
And it's so weird because it's like obviously Fu's the bow one, she's the air, she's the wind type bow one. Nope, sword.
Sword, yeah, you just have a sword. It was kind of odd, yeah. And the other thing is, like, from this point onwards, we don't really see them do all that much fighting with the swords.
That's true.
So it's kind of like, okay. I mean, they do, but they sort of, it isn't really a thing. I don't know. Anyway.
This series is so well planned out from the very beginning, just like Ruby.
Hey, stop it.
You stop that now.
So now Makona can make little, platforms for them to ride around on. So they get their airship.
Wait, define platforms, like hoverboards? Like, what are we talking about?
Oh, no, it's like a big, 3-meter diameter circle that they can stand on with a little fence.
Oh, that sounds very easy to draw compared to an airship. Suspiciously easy to draw, one might say.
So yeah, he's taken them to the next place, but then suddenly he's just flinging them into the ocean. But when they head underwater, they're under bubble now, so it's fine. Oh. So they're on the way to a temple in the ocean. Now, as they get close, Umi starts to get a massive headache. But then once they actually enter this little temple, her eyes have gone all sort of wavy and fiery, and she's kind of a little bit possessed. And she's just like, "Oh, I know a way here."
Oh, the water temple.
Yeah. So she walks off ahead of them, and there's this huge fucking dragon that she just has a quick chat with. But while she's having the chat, Escort's here. And like I say, he's a summoner. So at first he pulls out like a water dragon of some sort to fight Hikaru and Fu.
They love their fucking water dragons.
Yeah, they dismiss that. But then he pulls out like a bird that can shoot fire. And so Hikaru can't hurt it because she's also got fire. And Fu can't hurt it because wind can't do anything against fire except make it worse. So they're kind of stuck. They need Umi to come back. But Umi's still in this convo. The dragon requests that Umi show him the power of her heart. So then she wakes up and... She gets into a bit of a fight with Escort, who eventually takes the other two captive. Like, he gets two of his beasts to sort of hold them. And he goes on a little rant about how they're so dumb for fighting for someone else, because who would do that?
But what does he think he's fighting for?
Well, yeah, we're about to get into that. It's like a really straightforward, who would have friends? And then, Umi gets very upset and rants about how friends.
Yeah.
But then Escort gets his back up and starts talking about how these beasts are his friends.
Oh, okay, relatable.
And Umi's like, okay, well then why are you making them fight people? And
fucking sunk his battleship.
Escort lets the other two go, and he starts he gets all upset. He's insisting that his beasts are all nice and no one believes him.
She beat him in the marketplace of ideas.
Kind of, yeah. But then she insists, no, I'm sure they're nice, and she's giving one of them a pat. Mm-hmm. And she asks, what? So why are you working for Zagato? Because at this point, up to this point, he's been a real little shit, and then he suddenly turns into a really sad kid. It's a real quick sort of turn.
God, that is weird. Knowing that, I mean, should I? This is her love interest guy, right? Later,
we'll get into that.
Okay,
we'll get into that. Yeah,
that is what I'm remembering, and I'm like, wait. Umi a child groomer?
We'll get to that. So
Wait, Choto a minute, trial group.
Why are you working for Zagato? And he's like, well, he's the first person that was nice to me and said the beast could hang out in his castle. And we could help the princess.
Okay, fair.
And Umi's like, okay, yeah, but like if you just go around getting your beast to fight people, everyone's going to hate them like you're worried about.
Also fair.
Yeah, and she explains how my friends helped me be stronger. That's what gives me the will to fight, is to fight for them. And then you hear her dragon in her head go, yeah, that'll do. And then she gets the power up, and she gets the rune god. The rune god's there, and then he's like, I will show up later at the appropriate time for the story, and leaves.
What? They can't. What is like because they don't want only one of the girls to have a mech, so they can't do it until there's all three of them.
I guess so. Yeah.
I guess that would create a crucial power imbalance in the team.
But it also makes the next two fights they've got to have where each girl gets to fight someone to get the mech sort of a bit
formulaic
point.
In this 90s series.
They go to the air temple, which is in the sky. Fu drops in all possessed this time, and she just sort of gets sucked, like teleported in. And in the meantime, the other two meet Caldina. Now Caldina's a dancer who can like sort of brainwash or mentally possess you.
Oh, is this a skimpy tan lady?
This is a skimpy tan lady. Like she's from. It's like very much a sort of that sort
Fantasy Arabia or some shit.
Yeah, very basic Persian sort of fantasy riff type thing.
It's a kind of like the Dancers in Fire Emblem kind of bullshit, RPG, vaguely Middle East, sexy dance lady bullshit.
It's like the Gerudo in fucking, Zelda. Like, it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she meets those two. Fu meets her big giant bird. And has a chat. Same chat as before. I want to see the power of your heart.
Oh, they aren't all dragons?
No, they're all slightly different. Because Umi's was like a sea dragon, whereas Fu's is like a giant fuck off bird.
But okay, noted. We got dragon and bird.
Okay, Hikaru and Umi walk in, and she's like, "Hey, look, check out my bird!" And then they're both like enchanted. They've been enchanted by a dance or something, and they attack her. And she sort of knocks them back, but then Caldina walks in and enchants Fu, and which basically just sort of paralyzes her. And Caldina explains that the only reason she's doing this is for the money, because she's a working girl. She's got a 9 to 5. She needs the gig. The gato pays well.
I guess I am forced to stand. She is on that grind. Get it, girl. She's
a hustler.
She makes money moves.
And again, it's this thing of Fu is able to overpower her in the end, not without much difficulty because...
Oh, is it just a will thing? Does she just like go...
Yeah, this happens a lot. Fu does that because, obviously, Caldina's just doing this for the cash, whereas Fu is willing to die for her friends. So...
Shut up. Money can buy goods and services. Don't fucking...
Caldina's not willing to die for Zagato, but Fu is willing to die for her friends.
I see. Okay, fair.
Yeah. So Caldina quits. That's just like,
sweet.
Yeah, it's not really worth the cash. She gives them another bit of info. Is that because all this time they've assumed that Zagato wants to rule Cephiro. That's why he's kidnapped the princess. But it turns out that Zagato doesn't want to be the Dark Queen. And because Caldina straight up asked him, okay, well, look, the place is like going to shit because the princess isn't doing her prayers. Why don't you just let her do the prayers and you can still be in charge? And he said, there is something more important than Cephiro.
Oh, also, by the way, I feel like we haven't really gotten into like what the princess is, like what her deal is supposed to be in this world. Did we really talk about that?
Well, it's just that, like her prayers keep the world in place and keep it all peaceful and everything.
Yeah,
that's like the whole idea.
She has like super prayer power.
Yeah. She's the pillar. They keep referring to her as the pillar of the place.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. At this point, we cut to Zagato and Emerald for the first time. We actually see them have a chat. He's talking about how he's still trying to stop the Knights from succeeding. She still wants them to succeed. She tells him, if you keep doing this, Sephiro's going to fall to bits. And he says, Cephiro can crumble into nothing and all of the people can die. I don't care. It doesn't change how I feel about or why I'm doing what I'm doing. Without actually saying what he's doing. And so he pulls out the brainwashed captain of the Princess's Guard, who's going to go fight them, who's like a big man with guile hair, I guess I would say, if you know what I mean.
I feel like I might have forgotten who this guy was because he looked too generic.
He's pretty generic and he doesn't really get much of he doesn't get to do much before his name's Lafarge.
Lafarge.
He doesn't get to do much. Anyway, he's got
Ran out of cool people designs.
You know what he has? He has coup hair. That's what he's got.
Wait, which coup?
Coup from Fate. It's that sort of flat top, but also with the really long ponytail at the back. Yeah.
Very 90s.
Anyway, so off to the Fire Temple, and Hikaru meets Rayearth. her dragon, who's like a big fire lion.
Oh.
Now, the thing about Rayearth...
See, she is the main character. She gets the one with the name of the show.
This is the thing. The OVA, they do a spin on this, which I'll get to. It's really funny.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, she gets Rayearth. Now, the thing about Rayearth is he's way more of a dick than the other two.
What is he? What kind of animal does he look like?
Like a big fire lion, kind of.
Oh, lion guy.
He's like a lion with a big flame mane and shit.
Cool.
When they got there, this brainwashed captain of the guard is already there, Lafarge. When I say Rayearth is a dick, is because Rayearth lets her out almost immediately, and she can see the other two are like almost dead, just lying on the ground. And Hikaru jumps in front of them and is tanking all this, this damage from the captain. And Rayearth's like,
oh no, her HP is dropping rapidly.
Rayearth's like, just let him die. What are you doing? Just you can't care about them. They're shit. Just let them die.
Dude, you can't even turn into a mecha without the other two. What are you talking about?
So yeah, she's taking damage. She's like she manages to break the captain's brainwashing a couple of times, like where he sort of seems to sort of start to remember what's going on, but then Zagato pulls it back on. Now eventually he beats the shit out of Hikaru, and he goes to pick up his sword was knocked away, so he goes to pick up hers. But the thing about their weapons, because they're made of the special ore and all that shit, is that only they can wield them. So when he picks up the sword, it sets him on fire, and it turns out being set on fire is enough to break the brainwashing.
It's distracting.
Yeah, they have a quick chat. Hikaru forgives him, and now they all get their huge power up because they all get like huge big armor. They've all got their 3 rune gods. There's a very cool splash page.
Oh, hell yeah.
Of just like them sort of standing on the cliff looking out, and there's the gods in the background, and they're all on this armor that like covers their entire bodies now and shit.
Wait, but they're not mechas yet? They just like gave them cool armor? Okay.
They gave them cool armor, and now they're getting the rune gods. Yeah, the way this is drawn is like you see shots of the rune gods flying around, and then you see shots of them, and they're just kind of in a little bubble, and the rune gods are sort of faded out. So you can see that that's what it's kind of like for them, as they're just sort of flying around.
Oh, so they're kind of like inhabiting these like beings made of elements or whatever at this point? Like Umi's in a big water dragon?
Yeah, no, but then this is the thing. They don't, when they turn into the rune gods, they don't look like the animals they were. They look like mechs. Like they're like big armored dudes.
Okay, so they are mechs now.
Yeah, they are mechs.
We've entered
mechs,
Mechosphere.
Yeah, but the mech is the combination of them and the animal. It sort of fuses into this big mech.
I see. So there isn't like a literal cockpit that they're sitting in.
No, it's not. Like that is the thing in the OVA. There's kind of a cockpit, but it's not in any particular spot. Like it's not like Eva or something.
Yeah,
they're just in a sort of little
like a spiritual inside zone.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Now they finally get to face Zagato. He's built his own rune god.
He built one.
Yeah, he just built one.
Sure.
He's pretty powerful. This is the thing. He's pretty powerful. Like he's cool.
I imagine him assembling it like a little mecha kit or whatever. Gunplay.
One of those click together sets.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, while they're fighting him, they're having a chat.
As you do.
Here's where we actually start to get into what the go is with Cephiro and what the whole conflict's about. Because they're saying, why did you stop her praying? Now that she's not praying, this place is falling apart. And he's like, why does she have to be the one who keeps praying? Why can't she go do what she wants? Why is this her job? Why does it all have to be her job?
Excuse me, girls. Girls just wanna have fun. Oh, girl.
I don't think you were suggesting she just needs to go take a break. I think she did get breaks.
Wait, did she? Did she get breaks?
Well, she got to walk around and do other things. It's just it gets more technical.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I mean this sounds like a pretty good gig so far. Like if she can just work the 9 to 5 praying and then go take breaks and have weekends or whatever, I'd take that job. What's wrong with that? It's not like she's like being suffered in a machine or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. In order to get to the next part of the plot, they need to kill him, so they do. Okay. He's dead.
Oh, sweet.
As he dies, the princess cries out and splits into 2. There's the version of her that's still the little girl, but then now there's a version of her that's a grown-ass woman.
Oh! I feel like I never got to this part of the anime, but I remember seeing images online, and I was like, when did she become a big evil sexy or whatever?
So they all fly into the castle, not in the mechs anymore, and they're like, Princess Emerald, we're here to save you. We saved you from Zagato. We killed him. And she's in tears. She goes, he's dead. I'll fucking kill you. And the rune gods have to yank them out of the room before she murders them.
Oh, damn.
And now she's in a big sort of rune god type thing and just fighting them. And just screaming about how she's going to kill them and she hates them. As they're doing this, they hear from the child version of her again. And she explains what is going on. So as the pillar, in order to keep Cephiro stable, the pillar has to pray for and care for Cephiro only and nothing else. It has to be the primary thing that they give a shit about in order for the place to stay stable. Unfortunately, she fell in love with Zagato.
Ooh.
And she started caring more about Zagato than the world. And that was when things started to get unstable, as in monsters started showing up and things like that.
Oh, so even while she was still like trying to do her job, shit was still getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Is she too love a boy?
She was trying to maintain the balance, but it wasn't working out. So it turns out it wasn't Zagato that locked her up. She locked herself up to try and forget about him, but it just made things worse because now she's separated from him and stuff and da-da-da-da. She knew that she was kind of losing her mind and this wasn't going to work out, so she summoned the knights to kill her. Because what the knights actually are is a failsafe process for the world in case the pillar loses its mind.
Oh, so they can like kill her and have a new pillar?
Yes, yeah. They're the only ones. No one from Cephiro can harm the pillar. So it has to be someone from somewhere else.
Ah.
So what she's like right now, most of her has turned to despair and grief, the half of her that's trying to kill them. So they're speaking to what's left of her rational mind that still wants to save Cephiro in some way. Because she's saying like Sephiro's going to be in a lot of danger if I die because the pillar will be destroyed. But if I just keep going, I'm just going to end up destroying Cephiro myself.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going to happen. She's saying, look, you have to kill me. You really have to kill me. And obviously for the girls,
that's rough stuff.
Well, yeah. So here's like this is the thing. Like the whole way through this thing so far is it's been very like a video game. There's an evil priest and a captured princess and all that shit, and they told you got to go rescue the princess and and they have been talking about how much it's like a video game. To find out, nah, sorry, you got to murder her. Like
that, I can definitely believe they planned from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This part, yeah, it feels bored.
Yeah.
And she's like, her last line to them is like, just let me go and be with Zagato so I don't have to care about anything that him and we can be together forever. Just let me have my first and last moment of selfish freedom. And Hikaru just winds up and stabs her and they immediately zap back to Tokyo. That's
90 shoujo. Shit gets dark and fucked because it's cool. Isn't it cool if shit is fucked? Hell yeah, it is because of love. Oh.
Because this is the thing. This is the end of part 1, and part 2 didn't follow on immediately afterwards. So the story ends with the other girls from their classmates at Tokyo Tower going, hey, Hikaru, did you see that really bright light? And they turn around, and Hikaru is hugging 2 other girls that she doesn't know and sobbing as she screams, this isn't fair. And that's how the story, that's the first half of it ends.
Hell yeah. Beautiful.
So dark.
God, I wish I remembered, because I remember reading that stuff goes down differently with how that whole part ends in the anime, and I don't remember what
A little.
Did you read it? Did you read about what happens in the show?
Yeah. The major changes are sort of not even major. The primary changes are really in part 2.
Okay, but have you seen her funny evil outfit, the way that it looks in the show?
Oh yeah. That's a bit different because she doesn't look totally full on evil in the manga. It's just like she's just dressed out kind of like how she was before. So yeah.
It's like I see a version of her that has like kind of these wing things that they tried to recreate in the anime, but they look so much stupider in the anime. Like they didn't know how to interpret what the fuck the Clamp drew. And it looks very funny.
Like one thing about the anime is it was made on a budget. Because there's a lot of it. So times where they tried to go for bigger shit, they just couldn't always do it, you know?
Yeah.
Budget just wasn't there. So it turns out in the end this was a trolley problem. Is the setup for Cephiro is like
kind of, yeah.
Do you let this one person suffer in order to save and keep everyone else happy?
But it sounds like things were untenable either way, so it's like really the only good option is to kill her, it feels like.
Well, yeah. That's like you get the impression in the second half there have been other pillars than her before her, but no one was alive for that. Like she's the last one they remember.
Yeah, it's like maybe otherwise they'd just have to wait for her to die of old age or something.
Something, yeah. The whole premise of part 2 is that there isn't a pillar to replace her.
Oh, is it something you usually have to like groom someone for, kind of, or whatever?
We'll get into it. Yeah, we can get into part 2, I guess, can't we? Is there anything else you want to say about part 1? I do like it's like what you say. Yeah, it's dark because shoujo sometimes it gets dark and that's fun because it's
No, Clamp has so much of that energy where it's just like everything's flowy and cool, and then sometimes something really fucked up happens because that's cool. Wouldn't it be fucked up if you just loved someone so much it destroyed the world? Fuck yeah.
It was fun.
So Total Edition, part 2.
Part 2.
I remember reading like the beginning of part 2 and the end, and it being like Is this the same series as the other thing? How is this? There's like space or something? I don't understand.
Yeah, there's some space in this one, kind of. So part 2 opens with everyone being massively depressed.
But why?
Well, this is the thing. I think we talked about this before. It's like these girls just went on like a pretty basic field trip with school, and they came back intensely depressed, and obviously their family is quite concerned. Part 2 just has a tiny bit more meat on it. This is one of those places where it's just like, it's not anything particularly deep, but it was like, I was sort of oddly touched by this first section, which is all just Hikaru, Umi, and Fu's various family members checking in on them and like, wanting to know what's wrong.
Aw, yeah.
It was just kind of like, aw.
And like, these are people that have to see what their daughter's being all upset and they have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, so like everyone responds to their depression, whatever, what trauma or whatever's happened in like a really nice way. Like, so first we start with Hikaru. We don't see her parents. What it turns out is Hikaru is the youngest of 4, and she has 3 older brothers. So you see her sort of meditating in the dojo in their family house.
The family dojo.
And like the youngest 2 are keeping their distance, but they're both like very dramatically worried about what happened to her and like are freaking out that maybe like, she got hit on by a weirdo or something because she's so cute.
Aww.
And swearing they'll fuck up anyone who messes with her. And if someone does want to date her, they have to start with an exchange diary and all that sort of stuff, which was...
Yeah.
But then she has the eldest brother comes out and like, who's much more stoic and sort of talks to her and says like, asks, can you talk about it? And she says no. And so he doesn't press, but he just says, you'll find your own way through. Just trust your feelings and keep going.
Thanks, big bro.
And then the other 2 charge in and aggressively hug her.
Mm-hmm.
Umi is an only child, and then she's in her fancy house, and her parents ask if she's okay. And like, do you want to see a doctor? Because like, you seemed really sad for a while.
You want us to shoot you with magic?
She insists she's fine. And they ask if it's love related, and obviously she does the big cartoon chibi. Her dad then starts espousing how wonderful love is, and him and his wife just get all sort of lovey-dovey, and she's like, ugh. Which I don't know.
Very helpful.
Now, Fu has one older sister we meet called Ku.
Ku?
Yeah, Ku and Fu. Ku mentions that everyone sort of notices she hasn't been herself, and Fu starts to apologize, but Ku, like, cuts her off. We all know how hard you work not to worry us, so don't. Ku asks if she has anyone to share her troubles, which is the key thing that's going to lead into the next bit, because she's saying, it's easier when others understand. If you're not alone, if you have someone else who has the same problems, you can look for a way through them together. And they won't be so bad.
Who else would have similar problems to her?
Well, this is the thing. Fu mentions after school she's going to Tokyo Tower to meet up with some friends. So, yeah, they all meet up. Like, Hikaru's there first, and she's sort of just, staring wistfully. Umi comes up behind her and hugs her and says, please stop looking so sad or I'm going to cry. It's like, oh, man. They're all pretty broken up about what happened. Hikaru in particular is very broken up. At one point, she clenches her fist so hard that she starts bleeding.
Itch.
Yeah, no. They're all collectively kind of ashamed that they just assumed they were doing the right thing, which is a funny thing to feel bad about considering how cartoonishly evil the whole, black and white the whole thing seemed from their perspective. Umi also mentions that she can't game anymore. Like, she can't turn a console on because she keeps thinking about how if they're the bad guys in the game, what if they're good?
I love it. I love it. I can't even game. My PTSD.
They don't really think of them like they were villains, but they weren't the good guys either. It was all very black and white. They realized that, like Zagato and Emerald and everyone, they were all fighting for a thing that they really thought was right, and they kind of weren't necessarily wrong. And we didn't even know what we were fighting for, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, they've been introduced to moral grayness. It sucks.
And it's what's interesting is that here they don't really touch on what they thought Clef wanted, which I guess it just kind of lines up with what the princess wanted. But like, Clef seemed to know everything.
Yeah. So did Clef know that they needed to kill her in the end?
He did. Yeah.
I see.
They'll get into that in this part, but yeah.
Do they know at this point whether Clef? Do we know as viewers what he knew?
No, we don't know either. We're going to know shortly, but yeah. And they're saying like it all seemed so fun and cool, and we were really growing as people. And then, but you ban that ending. And they're all like, they're just all like, we really want to go back and help in some way. And bright light, whoops, here we go.
Thanks.
They're back in Cephiro. Now, this time, though, Cephiro is fucked. It's just a big, barren, floating rock with a castle in the middle behind a shield. Once again, they're falling, but once again, they land on the fish.
So,
Pressy is there. She mentions that she didn't know about what they were being sent to do when she made them the weapons. She feels real bad. They bump into Clef. Clef did know.
I do like the idea of like the weapons dealer being like, "Oh no, my weapons has been used in a bad way." Oops.
Well, you're just fighting monsters. It's not so bad.
I just wanted to make a weapons.
Precio, when she brings him into Clef, she says, come see Clef and the Prince. I'm like, the Prince?
Dot
The fuck's Prince? It's Ferio. It's Green Boy. He's the Prince.
What? He's a leader now?
It turns out he was Emerald's younger brother the whole time.
Was he blonde?
What? No.
I'm trying to remember if he
Still
looked
green
like her in any way or whatever.
No, not really. Not at all.
Yeah.
No, he really didn't. This might be one of those things that they decided to do in part 2.
Yeah. Because he just seemed like a general like hunter type guy, right? Like just a guy roaming around, killing monsters, doing fantasy things.
Yeah, and he mentions that. Like a lot of the people who would do sort of like the more dangerous jobs mentioned that they really didn't have anything to do in Cephiro before things got fucked.
That's true.
They just farted around.
I didn't think about that with the whole like there wasn't war or anything. It's like, well, why did you ever specialize in making weapons then? What were you doing?
I don't know. They just sort of mentioned, he was kind of fucked around. But yeah, he also knew about the legend of the Magic Knights because he was her brother, which means he kind of knew what the Magic Knights were going to go do when he realized who they were. Fu immediately like busts into tears when she realizes that they killed his sister.
That's rough. That's rough stuff.
Yeah, he reassures her that like he heard her voice in her last moments and she was like actually genuinely happy for the first time he could remember. So it's like,
for the record, it's cool.
Yeah, no, because Clef mentions, I heard her too, and she said to tell the Magic Knight sorry.
Give her a little kiss.
Soz.
You're really cute together. I ship it.
I will say, part 2 is remarkably harsh towards Emerald a couple of times. In terms of like, yeah, she fucked up. Like, it comes up later.
Dumb bitch falling in love.
Not for that part, more for like other things, but yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the go is now. Sephiro's falling to bits without the pillar. So those remaining with strong willpower built this castle to shelter the population, which we don't see, but that's not going to last very long.
There's just something about so many clamp premises and stuff where it's just like we only want to draw certain things or whatnot. It's to draw fucking groups in the cities.
Now the other thing that's happening is that other lands from out in space are drawing near to take over the pillar system.
Yeah, so there's just other fantasy worlds that are spacefaring.
Yeah, basically. You don't really travel through space. You travel on like roads that are made from people's willpower. Like if they've got strong will, they can make a road to go to another planet.
I see. So it's like effectively in a way they might be, it's about the same as if they were different dimensions, right?
Kind of, yeah. But like people have been able to like sort of pop from one world to the other before if they wanted to. Because like Caldina mentions that she used to like, her whole thing was that she used to travel around from world to world dancing. That was her gig. That's
weird. Or I don't know, it's just weird to be like, yeah, world travel was always a thing.
Yeah.
What, you didn't know about it? We all knew about it.
Well, they mentioned that like one of the other things the pillar did was it had a shield around Cephiro that wouldn't let anyone in who had ill intent. So if you're just coming up to like rock up and dance and have a good time, you can come in.
I see.
But if you were,
And why do they want this system so bad?
Well, we'll get into that. So there's 3 worlds. Okay, there's Autozam, which from that name, the fact that it has a Z in it, you can tell is a tech world.
Oh, of course. Are they vaguely Germanic or something?
No. They're just very techie.
I feel like I remember there being a China land.
Yeah, there's a China land. Autozam's leader is a guy called Eagle, who's just like some sort of cool dude. His 2 buddies are a pilot guy called Geo and a mechanic called Zaz.
Oh my god, I just looked up Eagle and I was like, yep, that's a clamp. Look at this motherfucker. Oh, that's right, there's the little pilot goggles boy.
Yeah. He's the mechanic.
He's a little guy.
They don't get a lot to do, to be honest.
Aww.
Autozam's go is that it's a polluted, crumbling world. What Eagles at least pitch the leadership there is that they might be able to use the pillar system if they can figure out how it works to like get their shit cleaned up, because right now their world's kind of falling apart.
I see.
Autozam runs on psychic energy that's kind of been turned into a form of electricity.
So do all these worlds run on the willpower system, or is that only a pillar thing?
That's Cephiro specifically, where everything runs on willpower and like is like sort of force of imagination type stuff. Autozam, everyone else has their own ways of doing things. Autozam, like it's a tech electronic world. It's just that it uses psychic energy to power everything.
RPG.
Yeah. So there's Chiseta, which is themed on Persian myths because their spaceship is a giant fucking genie lamp.
Oh my god, I do remember that now.
Yeah. Their leaders are like 2 dark-skinned women in skimpy clothing who might be twins, or at least sisters, called Tata and Tatra. Tata's the angry one and Tatra's the chill, slightly airheaded one.
Oh my god. I I'm just like looking at these images and I'm, like 13 again or whatever.
Oh, okay. We're traveling back. You're oh my god, because you're traveling back in time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's racist as fuck. I mean, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
But it's also just like that very gratuitous thing again, where it's like, it's just an excuse to draw like these skimpy, sexy ladies that they like to show.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Now, Chisetta's is here because their world is tiny and they kind of want to colonize Cephiro.
Is their entire world in a lamp?
No, it's just very small. And then there's the China Land, which is run by a child queen called Lady Asuka, who's like, she's just like a brat princess. And servants, there's an old man called Chang'an and a young boy called Sanyun. Asuka wants to take over because she wants to. She wants to turn the whole place into a candy land, and also because like the last princess of the place was very pretty and she wants to be a pretty princess.
Yeah, so she's like very childish, right?
Yeah, so and they're from the land of Feyren.
No.
Fahren, Feyren.
That's not related to anything else. It's fine. God, I'm looking this up and I'm just like, oh my god, one, memories, two, they clearly love drawing this aesthetic because it reminds me so much of Shaoran from Cardcaptor Sakura. Like the big billowy sleeves, China Land fantasy. It's that same thing. And also now I remember that this was one of the earlier places they went in Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, and I forgot this girl was from Rayearth because she was from the second part where there's a China Land from space. I forgot about that.
Their spaceship is a big Chinese dragon. That's their go. I will say there's at least one person from every world who, when they see the Rune gods, are like, oh, those are rad, which I kind of appreciate. Like,
relatable.
In AutoZam, it's Zaz the mechanic going, oh, sick, I bet they transform. And she said it's the nice sister who's just like, those look very pretty. And in Feyren, it's Asuka who's just like, I want them. I want to have them. I want to put them in bed. I want to sleep with them.
Yeah, got her little dot eye guy.
Yeah, he's funny. So yeah, like as I say, the princess used to shield the place from everyone else with hostile intent, but obviously that's gone. So they're all creating roads with their willpower to get to Cephiro, and the fact that they have enough willpower to do that means that they have the makings of a pillar. So that's the point. Well, there's people approaching who want to become the pillar and take over the place.
I see, but I guess they don't know exactly what it entails to become the pillar?
They don't know. No, Clef does. There's a few people in Cephiro who do kind of know, but even they're not completely sure how it happens. They know that like, vaguely, like you got to find the entrance to this path, and there's like a trial of some sort. But beyond that, no one, like Emerald was the only one who figured it out, and that was a long time ago, so none of them know how to do it. Okay. Now, Clef also takes a moment here to go, so, hey, we don't know why you're here this time.
Ooh.
Because last time it was Emerald who summoned them.
I don't need you to kill anybody specific this time.
Well, they kind of like that. They're saying, like, look, we feel really bad about what happened to you guys.
This is awkward.
I don't know who summoned you this time, but look, we'll find them and have you send them back. There's a running thing from now. This is like the slightly interesting thing that they pulled as like the fallout of the first half, which is like the girls are all thinking about motivation to fight. Why? Like, what do you want to fight for?
Yeah.
And it becomes a running thing as well, as that they spend a bit of time trying to figure out why these other three people are turning up and what they want to fight for before they want to fight them.
Yeah.
They want to understand what the go is. But in this time, what they're saying is like, we didn't know why Zagato and Emerald were fighting last time, and
we're not just going to kill anybody without knowing what's up this time.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like, it really hurts that we fought people who had good reasons for doing what they were doing. But this time, unlike last time, we know why we want to fight. Because there was a part of the princess who still really loves Cephiro and the people, and we feel like we owe it to her to do what we can to save the place and those people that we never see. So, like, yeah. But at the same time, the other running thing is that everyone is a bit sus of the pillar and the whole pillar system.
Well, yeah.
And that ranges from, like, Hikaru's like, we need to work something out in order to save this place, but I don't want to see what happened happen again. And like the other two girls are pretty sus of it. Clef has known from the start that it's a bit fucked, but like doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So yeah. So which was like, yeah, again, it does make that sort of like what they're toying with, that, you know, trolley problem joke.
Yeah.
So anyway, he now they're saying like, no, we're definitely staying and fighting. They get their gear and their magic back. The armor, they're told, we'll just adapt to whatever you need now, but really it just has two modes. There's the walking around mode and a robot mode.
Wait, is the walking around mode just like it's just armor they're wearing?
It's just a little bit of armor, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Like a strap across their chest and a little thing on the start, and yeah.
But their rune gods are in it, just on standby.
No, the rune gods now show up and go, hey. They're just like, look, when you need us, come grab us. We're cool.
Oh, okay. Wait, so their armor is the mecha now?
No, the armor's not really connected to the mecha. The armor's just a thing they wear. When they get inside the mecha, their armor takes a different form, even though they're fine because they're inside the mecha. It really is just like they wanted to draw another version of the armor. And I will say, the armor in part 2 when they're in the mech is cool. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's so extra. Because it's one of those interesting things where, like obviously the art of the manga is super 90s in a lot of ways, but it's also so like flowy and fancy that sometimes it's like, okay, that's cool.
No, there's a lot of times reading the manga where I was like, yeah, it is very like, it's light in places, but also sometimes they go for a really pretty splash page and they look really nice. And it's like, yeah. Especially in part 2, I feel like they really went a bit hard in terms of some of the little moments.
Yeah, these are bitchin' shoulder pads.
Yeah. They look nice.
Totally
and like Foo's is all nice and flowy and it's got those cool sort of things off to the side and stuff with the wings. And yeah, I don't know, it's pretty.
No, yeah, they look baller. Yeah, this I remember because it was Umi in this like leotard thing that she has, and I remember like seeing Chibi her just floating in a void, being like, "Who the fuck is that? Who's this little fairy girl?"
Oh yeah, there's a bit where Umi cracks the shits about some of the things she has to fight because they're gross. Anyway, so this time the Cephirans are going out of their way to say to the girls like, whatever you do, just protect yourself first and foremost. That's all we want. Because the running thing is they just feel really, really fucking bad.
That's cute, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like an interesting situation of it's like they're like veterans that they don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
Like, we're really sorry what we had to have you do. We don't know what to do with you now. Sorry, this is awkward.
So for the minute, they just go in for a spin in the Rune Gods to go look at the roads, look at what's up. And they get near the road that's coming from Autozam, and Eagle's like, "Hey, the Rune Gods are there. I'm gonna go say hello." So he gets in his robot.
So does he seem like a pretty nice guy?
He's very cheery, but he's willing to like fight people because he kicks off a little fight with Hikaru, but before it really gets going, suddenly they're separated by a blinding light, and we meet Lantis, and Lantis is the big important character of this half. So I got to show you his introduction splash page. Cube, what sort of character do you think this dude's going to be?
This motherfucker's his love interest.
Do you think?
God damn it. This is really funny because I was trying to remember. I was like, for some reason, I feel like I remember that the main character Hikari like dated Zagato, but I know that can't be right. But it's because it's a different dark, edgy, big-shouldered armor boy that shows up and is her love interest. That's right.
Yeah. So Lantis shows up on his big flying horse,
and he is a cool, sexy little fairy friend because, of course.
Yeah, tiny fairy.
God
She's
damn
very,
it,
very small.
Clem. You're living your best life.
Now, the second Eagle sees Lantis, Eagle's like, "Lantis," and then he just books it home. Just flies straight back to the ship. Yeah, he knows him. And Lantis turns around and just heads for the castle. So when the girls get back, they bump into Makona. He's here.
Makona. Is this the first time showing back up?
Yeah. This is the first time they've seen him again. And he's still extremely head empty because they're like going, you're just smiling like nothing bad is happening at all.
Oh, yeah, because they still haven't learned what his deal is or anything, right?
Nope. No one has yet.
Yeah.
Now, they also bump into Caldina, Lafarge, and Escort, the three villains who survived. Now, something that's happened is that Escort is extremely tall now. Like, much taller than all of them.
Yeah. He's a big lanky boy, but he still has, like, the hair over his eyes, and he looks funny.
It's this weird thing where, like, he's being all shy and doesn't want to come out, but then, like, Caldina goes and drags him out. At first, I thought it was like, oh, has, like, more time passed than you think? Like, Umi's like, you're so tall! And Caldina's like, oh, yeah, but it's because of you, and Escort just cuts her off. Also, they all mentioned, Alcyon's dead. Kind of would have liked to talk to her again. Oh, well. Just in passing.
It was early in the comic. He was feeling kind of angsty. I don't know.
And the girls are like, listen, we saw this like dark horseman on a horse, and then Lantis pops in with his fairy primera.
Wait, but so is the implication that Umi made him hit puberty by being so cute or something?
No, it's more like it's never really made clear, but there's this sort of vague idea that like she helped him grow as a person. And something about the property of whatever he is means that actually just makes him go whoop, like tall.
Oh, because he's also like not a human thing?
Yeah, kind of. He's some sort of sorcerer, like a bit like Clef, I think.
Yeah.
But they're not totally clear on that. But it's this idea that he matured as a person, so his body is also matured a bit.
Yeah.
Which I don't get what that means. Again, I don't get what that means for Clef, because he's still short.
Well, it's also like, what does that mean for Emerald? Because like she fell in love and stuff, but she didn't or I guess later she got, but that was only because she went crazy. She still looked like a baby when she was in love with Zagato.
Yeah.
Look, he's just like, I can tell she's not a fucking Shotokan. I guess I'll get tall. Bam, I'm tall now. We're shippable.
There's an element of that. All right. Yeah, Lantis is here. with his little fairy, and he's a big black armored drink of moody water.
So what's with the fairy?
I don't know.
They just wanted to draw a fairy, didn't they?
They want to draw a fairy, but also whenever... Okay, so here's the thing. Hikaru immediately gets a romantic splash page with him, super shoujo-y, sort of, dreamy drawn.
Yeah, he's on a cool horse thing.
Yeah. And, so what Primera is there to do is to yell at her because she loves Lantis and, don't get it between us and blah, blah, blah. That's all she ever does. Really annoying.
Wait, so is he from Cephiro?
Well... This is what he just leaves without really talking to anyone, and Lafarge tells him, "Oh yeah, he's Zagato's younger brother. He only just got back."
Oh, well, that explains why I got him mixed up with Zagato. Also, he got back from where?
He was on AutoZam.
Oh.
He left Cephiro at some point without really explaining why, and he was just kind of wandering around. And then he was on AutoZam for quite a while.
How convenient.
And then when Emerald died, or Emerald and Zagato died, he just arrived back.
Hey guys, what's been going on here? Whoops.
No, he knew what had happened. He came back because of what had happened and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. There's a long-ish stretch of introspection. Umi goes and has a chat with Clef and apologizes for being a brat when she first got here. And Clef insists it was fine, and then he apologizes for dragging them here and withholding the truth.
Yeah, good.
And not helping more. And then she insists that that was for the best because we grew as people, but also still you gave us Makona. And then it's basically just a I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, back and forth.
Everyone's got a lot of angsty feelings.
If you had to guess who Fu went and had a chat with, who does Fu end up having a chat with?
Green recognized green.
Now, okay, so here's the thing, right?
What's wrong?
So Ferio mentions that he never stopped thinking about the girls, especially after what had happened. And Fu tries to apologize for being rude to him in the forest. And he's like, I don't care. You were doing what you needed to do to survive. And I'm sure you guys have suffered plenty. I'm not worried. And she notices that he has his earring again. Because she mentions, she apologizes for losing it. Because she was like, when I go back to Tokyo, I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere for it. And he was like, you were looking that hard for it? and so blush. But then he gives it to her again. Now, get this. He tells her that his sister, the princess, gave it to him and told him that he had to give it to someone he really cares for. Because she knew that she would never get to care for the person she really cared for, so she wanted him to hopefully find someone that he could love.
Damn, that's rough. Also, he sure gave that shit away quick.
This is what I was going to say. Just quickly, Fu was a mess, obviously, finding this out, but he's still I just want to see, don't cry, I didn't want to make you sad, I just want to see a smile. But think about how hard he came on in part 1.
Yeah, damn.
he gave that earring to her.
I'm going to believe he just made that up in the meantime. It was this will really get her.
It does feel like it's one of those things where, they want it, they push the romance with these two really hard, but it does feel like, I think you guys want to make this up in between because this just makes him seem like a fucking mildly psychotic in the first half.
Damn. Calm down, boy.
Their conversation finishes with him saying, I never saw my sister truly smile. The smile never rose to her eyes. But, all I want now is to see you smile. It's man, God.
Well, gotta do it for the memory of his dead sister, I guess.
Hikaru wanders off and has a little think to herself about how, she doesn't want to see someone become a pillar again, but she bumps into Lantis.
Oh, I thought she was going to bump into Makona and have her deep talk with him. Boo, boo, boo.
No, she leaves Makona to sleep because he was in the bed. They were all sleeping together in a big bed, but they all sort of all got up on their own and wandered off.
So flowy.
She offers to let Lantis punch her for what she did.
For killing his brother.
Yeah, and she's saying, I know that's not much, but it's the most they can offer. But whatever you do, please don't punch the other two or hurt them.
Aww.
They've both been really upset since we got back. But I've also been depressed, and even though they've been really upset, they've been trying to help me. But I'm sure they were really upset when they were on their own. Lantis says, I don't blame you a bit for what happened. That wasn't your fault, and I'm sure.
Well, good.
He looks at her and sort of almost cups her face and is saying I'm sure when you were alone, you cried too.
Oh yeah, I should mention, I feel like I didn't make it clear when we were talking about this guy for people who are just listening to the audio. This guy looks like he's 25 years old. I'm sure he's he's 17 older. Or some bullshit, or who knows. But it's that shoujo bullshit where he looks like this hot adult guy and she's a tiny baby middle schooler baby.
but the way that the way Mamoru he's too old, but he's at least looks like a young man, like like late teens, early 20s or something.
Yeah, this guy looks like he's 9 feet tall.
Lantis looks like he's 9 feet tall. He's built like a brick shit house. The dudes in this show are so big.
Well, I was gonna say, but also to be fair, he looks a lot like Cardcaptor Sakura's brother, who I think is just a high schooler. Like that artist just draws all dudes that way if they're over like 10 years old.
Yeah, I know. It's really funny.
You just got to be this big, tall glass of water.
Yeah. Anyway, before this romantic scene can go any further, they're interrupted by the fairy, who does make a comment about you're not gonna get involved in anything romantic with my Lantis, and Hikaru's like, romance?
It's too bad for her because I think I have vague memories of the other ship with him being that eagle guy more so than her.
We will get into that.
Okay. I didn't know how much this was reflective of the material, but I feel like I remember vague gay vibes. Maybe more than vague. I don't know.
After a bit of fucking around, there's some earthquakes happen and more bits of Cephiro just like fall off because the place is falling apart. Two of the other enemies are coming in, and the girls go to like try and find out what they want because there's a thing of we don't want to fight anyone without knowing what they're up to this time.
What's your deal?
We get some little Lantis flashbacks to before everything went bad on Cephiro, but it was clear that like people around him knew that Cephiro was kind of fucked as a setup. Like he knew that Zagato was like in love with Emerald and hated what the place does to her. He knew that Clef knew that the whole system was shitty. And we also see when Lantis just left Cephiro and no one was really sure where he went. And we cut back to him and he says, this is the end of volume 1 of 3 of the second half, where he says, I'm going to put an end to the legend of the Magic Knights.
He's definitely going to kill him, definitely not going to kiss any of them.
Anyway, so Faerun and Chisetta are attacking at the same time.
God damn it. Why did it have to be called Faerun?
Yeah, no.
Can't you call it Faren or something?
Cube, you've got no idea how long I've been waiting to do this, so I can say this name over and over again.
Is that what you were wondering if I had, what I remembered in the second part?
No, it wasn't that. I mostly keep forgetting, but anyway.
It's got to be like Faren. It can't
Probably, Faren.
Motherfucker.
Faerun. Anyway, so yeah, they're coming in. They spot the Rune gods. Asuka's like, I want them because they look cool. Tata's like, I want to prove that I'm stronger than them, like because just being sort of goaded on a bit by her sister. So Chisetta attacks first. Their guardians that they can summon are 2 giant genies.
Because of course.
Yeah, they have a lot of stupid flexes, and this is the bit where Umi starts to sort of break down because she's like, I hate these things so much. Yes. I really hate them.
This is I definitely had this issue.
And then like she attacks them with her water dragon, but they just drink it and swallow it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I fucking hate them. I hate them so much. Which you kind of enjoy. It's just like, these things suck. They're so gross. I hate them.
Yeah. It's always funny to, upset the haughty Ojo-sama.
Yeah. So then Faerun attacks. And so what Lady Asuka can do is she makes big illusions. Like, do calligraphy and an illusion appears, or she pulls out strings and an illusion appears.
Okay.
And her old man servant keeps telling her, you haven't done anywhere near the amount of training you need to do to make this work. Don't do this. This is a mistake. And she insists she can do it. And so the first thing she summons is a giant Sanyun, her little boy servant with the dot eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Just a really big version of him. So Chisetta and Faerun end up sort of like knocking each other out. And the Knights don't really end up doing anything this time, apart from watching.
Excellent.
And their roads retreat a little bit. Meanwhile, we see Lantis. He's like looking for the path to the pillar. Like he's just kind of running around what's left of Cephiro, trying to find the opening. Because they don't know what it is. They're just like, it's
something somewhere somehow.
Yeah. So we go and have a look at Eagle after he booked it from that last fight. Now, Eagle sort of got wiped out because he used a lot of his psychic energy to power the robot. Geo, his buddy, knows that something's off, and he hears Eagle talking about Lantis in his sleep, but doesn't mention that he heard that.
Mm-hmm.
They have a meeting to discuss what they're after, and Geo confronts Eagle about like, listen, I know you were real close with Lantis. Are you really okay with like attacking his homeworld? And we get a little flashback of when Lantis went home. Lantis was saying that he knew Zagato and the princess would end up coming into conflict because they'd be fighting for each other, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wants to go home and destroy the pillar system so that no one else has to go through that again. Eagle talks about what he pitched the leadership of Autozam and saying, like he wants to study the system, he wants to figure it out, and his feelings for Lantis aren't going to get in the way for any of that.
That's not why he wants to go there at all, Baka. Right?
We'll get into that. So yeah, I'll just quickly mention this. Clef, we get a flashback from when Clef realized things were fucked, and also at the moment that apparently the princess told Clef that she was summoning the knights and going to try to kill herself, and the princess gave Clef Makona and just said, keep this thing from Zagato, give it to the knights when they turn up, it'll do the rest.
That's interesting. The like keep it from Zagato. Wow.
Yeah, he was just saying, keep this thing from Zagato. Clef and Precio and Ferio have a little chat, and another. Hey, this joint's pretty fucked up, in terms of the system.
Angst.
Again, reinforcing the thing of I want the people to survive, but I don't want this system to continue. They also, once again, Clef is like, really wish I could have talked to Alcyone again. She was like my student. Fuck.
Everyone's just really sad that she got killed off.
They keep bringing it up. It's really funny.
That's gross though.
Okay, there's a gag here that really threw me because the girls get back and Caldina's like she greets them and she's she's always very protective of them whenever they talk about going to fight or whatever. And like this time what she says is...
Wait, this is, we're talking about the dancer girl?
Yeah, the dancer girl. Yeah. And she's like, are you guys okay? Did anyone molest you? And Umi's response is, how would you molest a rune god? And I didn't know what to make of this joke. Like... That is a weird fucking joke.
I kind of like it.
I don't. Yeah.
Because like I'm imagining it like that's the kind of problems that she'd have to ask other dancers about. Like did any guys like fuck with you or whatever? But they're inside a giant rune god.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's just weird. We learn here the obvious thing. Caldina is from Chiseta. And they were like, what? And we're like, come on, God.
Look at her outfit. This is a dancer class Fire Emblem over here.
Yeah. She mentions, that she was a traveling dancer. She traveled around 15 different worlds. And then they're like, well, hang on, but why'd you stop on Cephiro for so long? And she looks at Lafargia and he looks at her and they both turn around, turn away from each other, blushing very harsh. And she goes, it's a long story, which I thought was a cute moment.
That has to be a very long story because she was working for the guy that was brainwashing him.
Yeah, I know. This is an element
so I'm not sure.
Anyway, so they're all musing about what Lantis is up to because he's popped out again. And Lafarge's sort of doesn't trust him and is saying that he might still be in contact with Autozam. He might be helping them. And then Akara is just suddenly like, no, there's no way he'd do that.
He's too handsome.
Yeah, so we cut to Lantis thinking about Akaru and about how she reminds him of Eagle in a way because it's someone with unparalleled strength of heart.
God damn it.
And then we got to Hikaru.
Clamp, I know this pairing of people. I know this light-haired boy and this tall, dark-haired boy, and they act all gay about each other.
Give me a minute. We are going to get to it, I swear.
Okay.
So,
but I know their crimes.
Hikaru is walking around trying to work out why she defended Lantis. And she doesn't even know him. She literally says she's trying to work why does my chest ache when I think of him? And I'm like, come on. I showed you ass bullshit.
Why does my Kokoro doki doki? I don't understand.
Umi and Fu have a serious conversation here, but what I like the framing for the two of them being together is they were trying to find Hikaru and bring her some snacks because they just kind of assumed she was hungry.
Aww. That's cute.
Farron and Chisetta have another crack. This time, Farron arrives first, and Lady Asuka ties Umi up with some puppeteer strings and has her robot attack the others. But Umi breaks it, as you do.
You know what puppeteer strings are good for.
Surprisingly not very bondagey, I will say.
No, I assume not, because she baby.
Now, Chisetta arrives, but before they can do anything, Autozam arrives, and Eagle has his road just bust through the other two roads and capture their ships, and they're just all kind of stuck in a stalemate now. You get the impression something else might have been about to happen, but then Hikaru does something that so far hasn't been possible. She breaks into Autozam's road and sees Eagle for a bit. They're both in, sort of high.
Wait, so these roads are they just these energy beam looking things that the ships are in or something?
Okay, so how do I describe these roads in space? Okay, so when I was 15, I had a Game Boy with 30 games.
Oh no. So what you're saying is that they're like Rainbow Road.
They're a little bit like Rainbow Road, yeah.
Is it very important that you not fall off of them? But yeah, they're just kind of like these light beams or something, right? Or something.
They're like light beams that the ships travel inside. So, and the whole thing is that you're not supposed to be the girls haven't been able to break into any of them yet. They've tried to, and they just sort of bounce off. Huh. But this time, Hikaru breaks in. And remember, this is all willpower shit. So, and they're in a psychic space. So she sort of comes right up to Eagle, and they kind of see each other for a bit. But then everyone passes out. Every single person passes out. Hikaru passes out, then fucking Eagle passes out, and the other two pass out, and
whoa, man, whoa.
The other girls take Hikaru back to the castle, and they're about to try healing her, but then Lantis steps in and says she's exhausted, she just needs to rest, and he picks her up in his big strong arms.
Oh yeah.
Her to the room.
Cradle this tiny child in my 9 foot tall arms.
Now here's a odd little bit. once they get out of the rune gods and wander off, the rune gods are just kind of there standing there, and Makona's in the room. And they're looking at Makona, and he's looking at them, and they all kneel to him. And one of the rune gods says to Makona, hey, Hikaru busted into the road. And they cut to Makona, and he's like, And that's the end of part 2.
Boo. Boo.
Okay, so, all right, part 3. Part 3 of part 2.
Okay.
So, Hikaru wakes up in bed, and she notes a few things. 1, Eagle had very sad eyes.
Very important.
Yeah. And 2, Makona's gem keeps turning yellow. And it's only happening for a second, but she keeps seeing it and going,
Because they're like red.
Yeah, it's normally just a little red gem. The other worlds have a little conference. So Eagle asks Chizetta and Farron why they want to rule Cephiro.
It's like a fucking video call, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's literally a video call. They're just like having chat on the ship. And like Asuka's like, I want it to be a Candyland. I want it to be a cool, fun place. And he explains to Asuka that she won't be able to, like, if she becomes the pillar, she has to care about Cephiro and nothing else. She won't be able to like care about or even pay any attention to her own homeland anymore. Chizetta say they want to colonize the place, but they want to do it peacefully and not like fight the people of Cephiro. And he's like, peaceful colonization isn't really a thing. Like, you're going to have to fight them.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. And he's like, and once you do that, you have to be willing to lay your life down for Cephiro and kill those people, or otherwise you won't be able to be the pillar.
Man, they really do just need to talk it out, huh?
Yeah. It's so dumb. This all seems like something they could have talked about.
Yeah.
They ask Eagle why he wants to, and he's just like, and then they says, okay, we'll meet again in a few hours. You guys can either leave, or if you're going to keep going, I'll destroy you. The little thing to note here is that Geo, while Eagle was having this little conference, swiped some physical data from Eagle, but he needs a bit of time to analyze it because he thinks there's something up.
Hormones.
Checking his T levels.
Yeah.
Umi has a real quick chat with Escort. It's clear that Escort has a big crush on her. They pick some fruit. Anyway, it's a nothing scene.
Look, we haven't had enough time to sail this ship yet. We got to sail all these ships.
Actually, well, speaking of sailing ships, okay, so Hikaru, they note that Hikaru's left her bedroom, and she's like, they catch her as she's about to go look around for the pillar entrance. And obviously Umi's very angry at her for getting out of bed after she was just hurt and everything, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Yeah, Umi and Fu and Ferio and Ascot all offer to just like go with her if she really wants to go look around. And Makona makes 3 little flying platforms. Ferio says to Ascot, we'll take one. And then Makona goes, and he runs up and like puts Umi's hand in Ascot's and Ferio's hands in Fu's. And Umi's like, why do you care who goes with who? And it just cuts to this shot of Makona's face going, which I appreciated. And Hikaru travels on her own with Makona, where she has a little monologue about how she's just really busted up about the idea of anyone, like the fact that it sucks that people have to love one another and like be around each other, but they really do need that, and no one should have to live alone the way the pillar did.
I mean, this is a very pillar-specific problem, this aspect of love, Hikaru. That's not just what love is like generally.
We get another Lantis flashback. We find out that Eagle helped Lantis leave Autozam when he wanted to go.
I wonder why he helped him so much.
Eagle tells him, I've also made a decision about what I want. Lantis is like, well, what is it? And Eagle's like, I'm not telling you.
I wonder what it could be.
We cut to Farron. Asuka's had a think.
Wait, why are you correcting to Asuka?
Aska. I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce it, to be honest, but it's not Oscar. So.
I assume it's Asuka.
I don't know. I don't know. Who cares?
It is
doesn't
weird,
matter.
I'm assuming because why do they spell it that way? That's weird.
So she's realized that she loves her homeland too much to want to rule any other land, but she also has a little think and realizes that she doesn't know what happened to Princess Emerald, but it feels like she should, because she might be good to try and avoid having the same thing happen to her.
Good thing to wonder.
and both of her servants are like, we're very proud of you. You've grown a bit.
Yeah.
And there is like there's a nice close-up of her saying how much she loves her little boy servant with the dot eyes, and there's a big close-up of him with his dot eyes, and it's like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's really emoting. Chizetta, Tata's being all sun about like why she still wants to go to Cephiro, and her sister, who does this a lot, kind of explains what she's thinking. I know that like if we were just going to Cephiro ourselves, we could talk to them and ask them if we could live with them, and if they said no, we can just go. But Autozam isn't going to do that. Autozam might end up fighting them, and so you want to go and defend the people of Cephiro from that, don't you? And she's like, yeah. So that's why they're going.
She's protective of this lesser culture.
Meanwhile,
Also, I'm realizing I'm feeling like these other two countries, China Land and Arabia Land, don't have as much reason to be here as Autozam in this story.
That's kind of a whole thing. Is that like they're early on to be like something to fight, but from the start it's kind of clear they don't have as strong a reason.
Yeah, Autozam has all these like personal things hooked up, and Dancer Land is just like that one Dancer lady's here, and the other one's just like, we're just fun.
There's definitely a thing that was like, it sort of seemed clear from the start that if it was going to be a battle of willpower, the other two, yeah.
Yeah, they're just here to fill out more silly people.
Yeah, basically. While the girls are flying around looking for the entrance to the path of the pillar, Fu mulls over why do the Magic Knights have a non-Cephiro name for their job?
Oh, it's Magic Knights in Japanese or whatever?
Yeah, well, in the translation I read, it was like, why do we have an English name? I was obviously they would have said Japanese name. But she points out how all the other jobs, like sorcerers and stuff, have Cephiro names for those things, but the Magic Knights don't.
Yeah.
She's like, well, that's weird.
What's that mean?
Autozam goes to the other countries and says, you're going to leave, and they say no, so they start fighting. Autozam's winning pretty handily. Amidst all the explosions, the girls are still searching down there. Hikaru gets knocked off her platform, but Lantis catches her, obviously.
Whoop.
Eagle sees Lantis and decides to go out. Now, Geo realizes now that analysis he was doing is finished. He's learned something about Eagle.
Almost.
He tries to follow him out in his robot, but Eagle's locked everything down, so only Eagle can go out and no one else can stop him. Yeah.
Oh, is Eagle like dying? Does he have a terminal anime disease?
So once Eagle's out there, all of a sudden the pillar path begins to open. There's this big shining light. Eagle and Lantis fight for a little bit. The girls get in the rune gods, and as they do that, a voice says, the time has come, and it's Makona. And Makona is now floating. He has giant wings, and he says the time has come to choose a new pillar. Now, everyone's sort of just standing around watching this. Makona starts off by dunking on the people who are like near enough but not good enough. Like he talks to Farron and Gisetta and just says, like, basically repeats what Eagle said, like that you guys, you don't have good enough reasons. Your heart isn't really in it.
God, this art of him with the wings is bitchin', by the way. I just Googled
it is, that's cool.
Makona God and like the way the wings look coming out of him. I'm like, that's a really good panel. Shit, fuck, manga, damn.
I do like when you have gods that are these really simple designs, but now it's like, oh fuck, this thing's full of power. Of course it is. It's so simple.
Yeah, but like the wings are so like well drawn, and then there's these like very textured feathers in the foreground, and it's just like yeah.
He talks to Lantis and says that you do have a strong heart. Your will to destroy the pillar system and the reasons you're doing it are strong. You have the strongest heart among any of the Cephirans here. But there are two people whose hearts are stronger. Makona like yawns and swallows up the two who are worthy, and it's Eagle and Hikaru.
Interesting.
They both get swallowed up, and they get sent to a time-stopped Tokyo where they have to fight.
Yeah, see, Eagle, you're I don't know why the other two countries are even here. Eagle, get in here. Fighty cars. Sweet.
Basically, yeah. Everyone sort of goes to Clef and, hey, Clef, we probably should have asked this earlier, but what's up with Makona? And Clef is like, honestly, I don't really know either because the princess just gave him to me. Now, at this point, Clef's crown melts off him, and I don't think I ever really understood what that's about. It's just a thing that happens.
They just got sick of drawing it.
So Makona explains, listen, I'm God.
Yeah.
I created Cephiro, and I created Earth.
Oh.
Yeah. So he said, Makona's thing was.
God, that's so funny. I didn't know that he also created Earth. I just knew he was a god thing.
Yeah, no, he created both worlds because what he explains is that Earth was his first crack at a world where the people, like the residents that lived there, had the power to shape the future via their own willpower. But it kind of sucked because, war and so on. They weren't good to each other.
Wait, so we had the way to shape it via willpower, but not literally, right? Like the way
not
that
literally,
we
just like we had collectively we have control of our destiny. But
yeah.
Obviously we were being shit about it. So so Cephiro was his second crack, whereas just one person makes the place work, and that seemed to work a lot better for quite a while. Anyway, cut to the fight. Now Eagle explains that he's fighting for himself. Makona pops in to mention that Eagle is dying, and Eagle confirms this.
Thanks, Makona. Thanks for the tooltip.
Yeah, so what's happened with Eagle is that he's exhausted his mental willpower for Autozam and now for the trip to Cephiro. Like he's just It's that whole thing that, psychic energy powers the world, and he's just been burning his up trying to save it.
I see.
So
wait, did Eagle not know he was dying?
No, Eagle does. So this is why Eagle's doing what he's doing. He said, once I knew that I was dying, the form of the death that this takes is that he falls into an eternal sleep. So what he wants to do is become the pillar right before that happens, and then when he falls into eternal sleep, it'll freeze Cephiro in place, and everyone else can just leave and move on, and no one else can take over the pillar from that point. But the main reason he's doing this is because he knows Lantis wants to die to destroy the pillar system, and he's doing this so Lantis doesn't have to die.
Wait, how would Lantis manage to destroy the pillar system by dying?
By becoming the pillar and then destroying the whole thing, with himself included. Like, he just destroys Cephiro.
Oh, I see. Like, destroy the world.
Yeah, but so basically, yeah.
But yeah, he's doing it for Lantis.
He's doing it for Lantis. But then Hikaru is just like, I am not fucking having this. This is just Emerald and Zagato all over again. It's more people sacrificing each other for the ones they love.
It's exactly like Emerald and Zagato. This is the part where I feel like I should, for the sake of the video, give you like various images of tall, light-haired twinks and then like the dark, edgy guy that are like kind of like pretty obviously gay with each other, but like in that somewhat ambiguous shoujo way. Clamp, you got the thing you do.
Clamp, like I will give it to them. It's not that ambiguous, to be honest.
That's true, but it's like Sakura's big brother and the guy that he goes to school with. It's exactly the same. There's this light-haired twink. There's this dark guy. Sylvester Reservoir. There were two guys from other worlds. Same fucking dynamic. They got a type when it comes to their like dramatic gay ship boys.
Yeah, but like in this one, they Hikaru directly compares them to a het couple that were together and stuff.
No, yeah, them's gays.
The other point here I thought was good was like when she talks about you sacrificing yourself for someone else. The thing that gets her really fucking mad is going, what about Lantis? What about Gio? What about all the other people that love you? What happens to them when you die?
Like what Fu was thinking about in the first part.
Yeah, and it goes on to this thing about like, look at all the damage that Emerald left in her wake when she decided to kill herself.
Aww.
Look at all the people that are broken up about what happened. That's fucked. I won't let you do that.
Yeah.
The others can hear a bit of what's happening back on Cephiro, and Umi and Fu are demanding to be let through, but Makona won't because he's particular for the rules now.
Are they shaking his little Makona bod?
No, they can't get to him. He's like surrounded by a little thing. Because like in a minute, Lantis is just going to be punching the shit out of the barrier, trying to punch the shit out of Makoto, and he can't.
I see.
He just can't get to him.
You called him Makoto again. Why do you keep calling Makona Makoto?
I don't know. No, it's bad. At this point, Hikaru's sort of turned half into fire, and she's just sort of like caressing Eagle's face and saying, she's saying, come back to Cephiro with me, because if you become the pillar, you'll hurt Lantis. And I know you're both trying to do something for the other, but you both have such sad eyes. And she straight up says, you really do love Lantis, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm sure he feels the same.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to get hurt like Zagato and Emerald again. I don't want to have any more regrets. And at this point, Makona goes, Hikaru's the pillar. And then they go, well, hang on, what happens to Eagle? And Makona's like, I kill him. It's like...
Damn, Makona, damn.
Yeah, Hikaru's trying to take Eagle back through the portal, and Makona won't let her. Like, and it's like injuring Hikaru as she tries. Hikaru makes this speech at him where she's saying, like, I thought we were friends. Like, when I talked about how people shouldn't be alone, I thought you nodded. I thought you agreed. Did you agree just because I'm the pillar, or was it because we were friends? And then just sort of saying... I don't care what you think. I consider you a friend. I want you around. I want us to be hanging out again.
Wait, she's talking to Eagle?
No, she's talking to Makona.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Aww.
On the other side, like I say, Lantis is trying to punch the shit out of Makona and isn't working. Umi and Fu manage to get through to Makona and are allowed through the portal and drag Hikaru and Eagle back. So now, would you believe it? I know I said this thing didn't have a lot of magical girl stuff in it, but Hikaru is now made into a sort of god and is told she is allowed to reset Cephiro however she sees fit.
Yeah.
Sometimes people criticize Madoka for like saying like, you probably could have worked out a better deal for yourself.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't agree with that criticism, but it does make me think of like, this is a thing where it's like the main character at the end just gets to do whatever the fuck they want to fix things.
Yeah.
Like they do. Yeah. So, yeah, she says they convinced Makona that it wasn't fair to burden one person with all of the responsibility of the world. It should be shared amongst everyone. And they're sort of saying, we get why you didn't think Earth worked out all that well, but honestly, it's still better than this. Like, and also, like, you know, it's not as black. Like, they're sort of saying this situation is more complicated. It isn't as black and white as the trolley problem.
Yeah.
You don't have to force one person to suffer. It isn't necessarily going to save anyone else. And the other people don't necessarily want that person to suffer for their sake. Like, that's what everyone on Cephiro is kind of, that's the way they all feel now.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, this is the point where Makona takes a moment to dunk on Emerald. Because, like, she's saying, you know, before she died, she could have reset the pillar system however she wanted, but I guess she didn't have enough faith in her people or trust them to share the burden.
Damn.
That sucks. Yeah, I know.
Damn.
It's like she's fucking dead, dude.
I know. Jeez.
Anyway, so Makona's like, all right, cool. We can work it this way. I'm going to go have a crack elsewhere.
Make a third world.
She says, I'm going to go to another dimension and have another go.
Okay.
And as he's leaving, they're saying, hey, listen, you know how you just let us break the rules, right? At the end there? That's because you're our friend, right? That's because you like us. And he turns back and he just goes, boo! And he goes, it's the end.
Cute.
Anyway, we cut to a year later. The girls are all heading to Tokyo Tower. Fu is really dressed up this time. It's kind of funny.
She's a little fancy lady.
Yeah. And yeah, it turns out now they can just pop over to Cephiro whenever they want.
Hella.
Umi's baked a cake. It's extremely clear that Ferio and Fu are an item now because they're talking about how much better things are going, and Fu says something about like, you know, happiness isn't a thing a single person can make, and Ferio lifts her hand to his lips and says, true, because after all, you bring my happiness with you wherever you go.
God damn.
Damn.
Damn, boy, damn.
I know, he's a fucking charmer.
Me a Ferio.
On the other end of this spectrum, Escort asks Umi if she's seeing anyone. She says no, but can't really work out why he's asking, and he just sort of turns away and goes, yes. And it's kind of, they just leave it at that.
We don't want to work out all the implications of their weird relationship, so we're just going to leave it there.
Now, here's the third one. Eagle is asleep. He's in that psychic deep sleep, but he's recovering, and he can talk psychically with everyone. Lantis is hanging out with him, and Hikaru's going to say hello.
Wait, he's just getting better? He just gets better from it?
Yeah, he's just recovering. He's fine. Something about Cephiro, and like, because now that it's better and it has the power of willpower and everything, it's helping him recover.
I guess that kind of makes sense, actually.
Kind of, yeah, it's fine. Hand wave magic.
Yeah.
Now, because everyone's there, so they're all having like a little tea party or whatever, and Eagle says, Lantis, can you take Hikaru to where everyone else is? Hikaru's like, oh, no, I can find my own way. And Eagle goes, no, I think Lantis really wants to like escort you for a bit.
Oh.
Because they have a bit of alone time.
They're never going to get there. Then they'd have to draw all those other people.
Oh, no, they do. They will see the people.
Oh.
Lantis asks Hikaru as they're walking. Hikaru's saying, oh, Eagle's, a really amazing person. He's very strong. And Lantis, like, kneels down next to her and cups her face and says, I see the same strength in you, type thing. And then he says, how do you confess your love in an Earthian way? Like, what do you say?
You just did, motherfucker.
And Hikaru says, well, you ask a person to marry you. It's a promise to love them and be together forever.
It's pretty full on, Hikaru, you dumb baby.
Yeah, I know. Well, Lantis goes, Hikaru, who do you want to marry? And she's like, Lantis and Eagle. God damn.
Wait, has she even interacted with Eagle all that much?
A little bit, yeah. Well, during the big fight and stuff, and she was fire and she cupped his face and all that.
That's true. It still feels rude to Lantis. It seems like he's done more to earn her boyfriend status.
And like, what was sort of funny was like, even Lantis is sort of sus because he goes like, can you marry two people? And Hikari shakes her head, which, man, polynegative.
Oh,
That's
man. I'm canceling this, actually. It wasn't problematic before, but now it is.
But then she rambles about how she still loves them so much and she loves everyone else so much and da-da-da-da. But like, it was interesting to me that like, Lantis and Eagle are definitely like pushed pretty hard in this, but it does seem like there was kind of a she's going to get two boyfriends type thing.
Yeah, it does seem like it's kind of being pushed as a poly ship.
Yeah, it does. Like, it really does. It's sort of with like they still have to have that thing of going, oh, two people can't get married, but But
that just makes it hotter. Look, Clamp. You don't know Clamp and their forbidden relationships. They like every kind of forbidden relationship. Some of them are more fucked up than others.
Yeah, I mean, when you have no restraints, it tends to lead in a lot of different directions.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a teacher who's in a marriage pact with an elementary schooler. Isn't that cool, kids? Hey, Clamp, no one can stop us. Sometimes it's bad.
Sometimes we should be stopped.
Sometimes maybe someone just stops us a little bit.
So yeah, like I say, all the there's the Tea Party. All the representatives from the other worlds are here, and they're all working together now. Which again, really seems like something we could have been doing from the start.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Clef talks about how he suspects that Makona wanted Cephiro to change, otherwise he wouldn't have left Cephiro and Earth intertwined. Like he sort of this idea that he hoped that people from each world would sort of interact and take a bit of what one world thought to the other and vice versa.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, Clef.
But he also points out that, because we were still that thing about we don't know who summoned you. It's like, well, it must have been Makona.
Ah.
Now, in the anime, it was the girls summoned themselves through their own willpower because they just wanted to get back so
that's
bad.
cooler.
Fair enough.
Or I don't know. I like it. I like the idea that, it was just their agency. They
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah,
I suppose
like
that's true,
especially when it's a mystery of like who summoned us. It's like we summoned ourselves, bitches.
Now, the last page. Umi mentions that we need another name for Cephiro. I don't quite understand why, but they're saying, we can't really call it Cephiro anymore because too much has changed.
It's like when you have a new gender identity as a planet and you want to have a new name. How are they going to come up with that new name?
Anyway, but it's...
How do you come up with a new name for such a planet? How do you do it?
Yeah, and they're saying, well, who should we ask? And who should we ask? I don't know. And then Hikari goes, I know. Why don't we ask you? Turning to camera. The person who's been watching over us this whole time.
God damn it.
And she's talking to the audience, and the last panel is a little bit of text that says, what do you think the world should be called? And a little space for you to write a name. Clamp, come on.
Clamp, was this for 9-year-olds all along? Why did you do all the other things you did if this was for 9-year-olds all along, Clamp? Clamp?
It's so goofy.
It's the funniest. I mean, obviously now, like, anyone who's listening to this knows why that always stuck with me is the final page, because the fact that there's just a big box there for you to write the new name like it's a fucking kids magazine. It's so funny.
I wonder how many secondhand copies there are of the last volume of the manga that just have bum face written on the last page.
But it would be so cute if there were ones out there with like legitimate names that they wanted to name the planet.
Yeah, that could be cute.
It's like Loveland. Anyway,
that's the manga, and like I say, for the most part, the anime is reasonably close. I think the second half introduces a couple of extra villains.
Because I remember there being some character that's like a fucking clone of Hikaru.
Yes, there's two villains, one of which is like a manifestation of the people of Sephiro's pain over what happened to Emerald. And the other one is a manifestation of Hikaru's pain over what happened to Emerald.
Oh, that's what she is.
Yeah, but it's just it's fill in, it's like it's a bit of extra. They did a bit of extra time.
Yeah. Wait. So she just like fights and that's about it.
I think so. Yeah. I'm not really across it. I just know that
it's like I remember long ago reading about like maybe the person who was the main character was actually her, that she replaced the real Hikaru and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I guess that was just like the ancient wild mass guessing page equivalent.
It could have been, yeah,
on the internet. Because I'm looking at her and she looks like this like edgy fairy girl, like you wouldn't mistake her for Hikaru herself.
Like I said, I did think the second half was a bit more interesting, even if only that it was like, still not on like a really deep level or anything, but it was a bit more contemplative than the first.
Yeah, and they were wilding out a bit more, which is always fun.
Yeah, they wilded out a bit more, but it was also like, they sort of, because they did kind of write themselves into a corner a bit, they had to think a bit harder about what was going on.
So,
okay.
What the fuck with the OVA?
Okay, real quick, I'll try and get through this quickly because honestly, it's such a mess that it's kind of like, I don't need to spend too much time on it. But
you're just making me want to watch it even more.
Like I say, the OVA is a weird riff on the show because a good chunk of the cast is there, but the story is quite different. So it all takes place on Earth in Tokyo. The couple of things we see right at the start is there's a ruined world, there's a busted-ass castle, and tall Clef. Clef is tall now. He's a fully grown man.
Damn, everything's changed.
And he's fighting some sort of big monster. We then cut to Emerald, who gets out of a pond in a cave, and there's a throne where some guy is sitting. And then we see Eagle watching her, and he says, like, Emerald will soon arrive at Rayearth. And we see Earth. Okay, so that's all we see for the start. That's our cold open. Now, this time the girls all know each other. They've all been at school together forever and are about to graduate from middle school.
Oh yeah, they have these like nun-looking outfits when I Google the OVA.
A little bit, yeah. They're like sailor outfits, but mostly dark. Like school sailor outfits.
Yeah.
Hikaru's a popular gymnast. Umi's still into fencing, and they're all like talking about how they're sadly going to go away and there's sad piano music playing. And then we cut to Fu and she's playing the music. Years ago, they all made a wish under a sakura tree.
Oh.
Because they heard a legend of they heard the rumor of the sakura tree.
God damn it.
That there is a fairy there that grants a wish if you wish under it. So years ago, they all wished that they would be friends forever. Blah, blah, blah. Hikaru is waiting for the other two to turn up. And as she's saying, who would believe in a stupid fairy? Makona drops out of the tree and runs away. And the other two turn up and she's like, I saw the fairy. It was real. Anyways, they don't believe her. So they sort of just go for an after school walk. They're taking photos in a photo booth. They're all talking about how after they graduate, both Umi and Fu are moving away. Like Fu's going overseas and Umi's going to some other school. It's like a good couple of hours away.
Fancy lady school.
They're all broken up about it, but we really focus on the fact that Hikaru is quite broken up about it.
Yeah. She
spots Makona again across the street and runs across to him. But as she runs, she hears a voice saying, "Why are you the only one who can see this fairy?" And then suddenly she's sucked into a void where there's just these little bubbles, and this voice shows her Earth exploding. And then gives her the gem, which is this, like on the wrist, which this thing they call an ovum. Okay.
Egg.
And the voice tells her that Makona gave you that gem because your wish to be together forever with your friends is very pure. And if the gem keeps glowing, your wish will be granted. And then this voice shows her tall Clef, who's standing on top of Tokyo Tower, and says, "See that guy? He's undergoing a test. If he fails, this world will blow up. But now you're also part of the test." And then he just dumps it back with the girls, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And now Makona's here, and they can all see him. Okay. Now, I think this is the thing. This is the thing about this OVA. It moves so fucking quickly from bit to bit. Like it really is pretty incomprehensible because like
I'm hyped for how wild it sounds though.
Like Clef is standing there and he goes, "Oh fuck, it's starting." Alcio turns up out of a portal and just immediately starts killing people by turning them to ice and shattering them.
Well, that's rude. Guess she has to die forever.
She sees Clef and is like, "Why are you bothered to protecting the last world?" Clef calls to the gods. He says to the people of Earth, "Forgive me," and sends a beam into the sky. Alcyone realizes what he's doing, which we don't know, and has a crack at killing him and the girls by dropping stuff on them. Clef does something and everyone on Earth sort of fades away except for the three girls.
Oh, did he create a reality marble? Something
like that, yeah. Well, he sent all the. We find out he sent all the humans into like a parallel time stop dimension to protect them.
So they can have rad mecha fights.
Basically,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We cut to Emerald singing in a cave. It's adult Emerald, by the way. We realize it's Zagato on the throne, but he's not talking or saying anything. We see Eagle watching through the portal again, and he's referring to Emerald as his sister.
Oh, so they've like combined him and Ferio as characters.
No. Ferio's also here.
Oh, not neat.
Lantis shows up in the cave where Eagle is and puts a sword to his throat. Eagle says, "You're too late. It's all going anyway." Emerald wanted everyone to love her, and I'm going to make that happen. And Lantis goes, "Ugh," and just leaves. The girls were saved by a barrier that popped out of Hikaru's gem. They realize everyone's gone. Hikaru thinks this is her fault for wishing they could be together forever somehow, because that wish has made everyone go away. We see that Escort and Ferio are hanging out near the tower and they're sort of teaming up. So Ferio is evil in this version.
Oh, no.
Ascot wanted to kill Clef, but Ferio won't let him because that's Alcyon's job. I should say, when Clef did the thing where he put everyone in a dimension, he passed out. So Clef's bird brings his like unconscious body and just dumps it next to the girls.
And they have no idea who he is, right?
No, they don't know who he is. Oh, no, Hikaru saw him in that little vision from before. And he wakes up and like realizes that they're part of this test now. Alcyone has another crack. This time she's got a little spirit beast who's like a cool sort of cat, like a cat with really long ears.
Oh, I think I see it in this like promotional poster.
Yeah.
On her shoulder.
So everyone's, all the Cephirans are fighting over the princess's wish and they can't seem to agree on what it is. Alcyone joins up with her spirit beast and turns into like a big monster, like they're going to have to fight with a mecha.
Is it a Meow Meow monster?
Nah, it's more like, it looks more like a giant rabbit or something. It's kind of weird. It doesn't have a very like clear sort of outline. Mm-hmm. They're trying to fly away, but Hikaru falls off, and as she's falling, she has a little realization that like, oh, I thought I was the only one who was upset about the fact that we were going to be apart, but we were all upset. And then you hear the
why'd you even want to stick with them if they weren't going to be upset about you separating?
Yeah, and then you hear a voice say, "Oh, okay, you get it now." And then she meets her fire lion. Now, here's the thing: he's not called Rayearth. His name is Lexus. That's in the car.
Lexus Nexus.
Because the thing is that a lot of the other beasts and stuff are named after cars. It's just like you weren't ones that you would have recognized because I think they were Japanese brands.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
But he's Lexus. Oh yeah, okay, he's a car.
Yeah.
But what?
So anyway, the door to Cephiro is opening. Alcyone's about to kill them all, but then Lexus and Hikaru show up and combine into the mech. Now, as I say, the girls are very nude in the mech. As Alcyone's beating Hikaru up, she's very nude and very bloody and screaming a lot. Not a huge fan.
Edgy shoujo.
She gets angry when her friends are about to be hurt, so she punches Alcyone's hand off.
Damn.
And then she arrows of fire, fires Alcyon's mech to pieces. And then we cut back to Alcyone, and she just doesn't have a hand anymore. She just has a bleeding stump where the hand was.
Ooh.
With so now Tokyo Tower is replaced with a fortress. The busted up fortress we saw from before. Eagle's here. Zagato's here too. He's still asleep or whatever. He's not doing anything. Hikaru has a crack at destroying the castle, but another mech turns up and destroys her first. Clef pulls the other two girls away and says, hey, you two have got gods too, but you got to unlock them. We see Alcyone about to stab Hikaru's unconscious body, but Lantis pops up and stops her and busts her gem. He's got a dog this time. Nice doggo.
Woof, 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 woof.
He criticizes Hikaru for being reckless, but also puts his cape on her. So that's episode 1. That's the first 40 minutes of the show. Okay, so episode 2. Fu is wondering now. Okay, so the first 10 minutes of episode 2, I think just for the sake of being arty, are told completely out of order, and it's very confusing to watch. I had to watch it a couple of times to understand what was happening.
Because things weren't crazy enough yet.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what happens in order. The two girls shelter inside a food court. Clef has passed out and taking a nap. Umi sees a train go past, which is weird because everyone's supposed to be gone, but Fu explains that it's a automated train.
Thanks, Fu.
That apparently, I think actually exists. So it's probably just running on automatic. She also went and got them some food from Sabway, which I appreciated. Just before this, though, Fu was out the front wondering if she had the will to fight, if she was really, enough of a not coward to fight. And then she hears a voice. As she's giving Umi the food, Umi goes, why are you wearing a glove? And then she realizes it's because Fu was trying to hide the gem that has appeared on the back of her hand. Yeah, and she also seems to be able to feel the Earth's pain because there's like a storm in the sky and she's going, the Earth is crying.
Sure.
All
right.
So it's covered up because of the way this thing is cut around, but Umi is saying to Fu, they think Hikaru's dead, and so they're like, because she got blown up, and they didn't see all the other stuff, so they're like,
damn.
What happened to Hikaru is going to happen to you. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to take a nap now, but don't leave. And Umi just puts her head down on a table and falls asleep for a bit.
Is she hoping to have a psychic dream?
I don't know. She wasn't even thinking about the god. She's just like, I want to have a nap now, and naps. And Fu leaves because she's like, I've got to go fight for myself. Clef wakes up and mentions, oh no, she's got the green gem, and the green gem can uncover the truth, so she'll know everything about something. It doesn't really come up.
Oh my god. I gotta watch this now.
Fu is talking about how she needs to be strong in herself. Wyndham talks to her about how, because I can see the truth, I can show you destiny, and which is trying to say everyone's going to die unless you do something. But the way Wyndham shows this off is that he brings up little people out of the ground and then they burst into smoke, and he's like, this is destiny, people die. And Fu's like, oh no, people die.
Thanks. Thanks, bird.
She's on the train.
Because it's cool.
Well, yeah, and also because they don't know where Wyndham is, so they're like, I've got to get around somehow. So I'll ride the train for a bit.
Wait, Wyndham is...
Oh, sorry, yeah, Wyndham's her
bird?
rune god, spirit, whatever.
Oh.
In this, they're just called deities.
But she doesn't know where they... So it's somewhere physically?
Yeah, he's because I'm sleeping somewhere, you have to come find me. I don't know where I am. Well, that's part of the test, is you have to find me. But then Ferio attacks her with bugs. He's got bugs this time.
Ferio, no!
She manages to make a train carriage float a bit, but he just attacks it with some more bugs, and then it breaks apart, but she teleports herself away. Meanwhile, Escort rocks up to where Umi and Clef are and attacks them with foam that dissolves stuff.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's as cool as monsters.
We get this. We cut to Hikaru, who's waking up, and she's having this dream that's a memory of this time that she gave away her umbrella to someone when it was raining and lied about having another one, and then is just sort of standing at the door wondering what she's going to do. And Umi and Fu are back there. This is the moment they met when they were in school. What's kind of funny is that the scene is narrated by two bitchy girls who are dunking on Hikaru for giving away her umbrella.
I see, yeah.
Going, ugh, who would do that?
Who would be such a good pure uwu protagonist even? Disgusting.
It was really dumb. But anyway, yeah, she wakes up. Hikaru and Lantis have a chat. And Lantis is like, you're too young and unprepared for this. You're stupid. So he sticks her in a labyrinth and says, if you're so cool, you can get out of this labyrinth.
Okay, thanks, dude.
Yeah, cheers, dude.
That's cool. Who are you?
I don't know why he did this. I got to be honest.
Nice to meet you.
It becomes a thing of this is a test she has to pass
Right.
for will and everything. But it's like, dude, you just We've been over this a few times now. She already cares about her friends.
Wait till
I don't know
second
what
date, buddy. Where you stick me in the labyrinth.
Fu escapes and she thinks she's a wimp. But then Ferio shows up and just kind of dumps on her saying you're a wimp. But he wants to know where the spirit beast is so he can kill it before it wakes up. Clef warps Umi and him away from Escort, but now he's ill and dying because of the whole putting people in a time warp thing. And then he's telling Umi, you need to remember why you guys are friends and then you'll get your ovum, because they keep calling him ovum. That's weird. And then Umi has to run away and he's just going like, this sucks. Why am I all alone? I don't want to die alone. Which is like, that's a full-on thing to think about.
Fair.
Ferio mentions, my hobby is fighting the defenseless and torturing them. Like, cool.
Ferio,
cool
how can you be so mean and poo-poo?
Fu's watching her neighborhood get trashed by Ferio, which makes her want to fight. She's like, I didn't want to fight him, but now I will. And it turns out the spirit beast is in a nearby baseball stadium that she has to get to. Escort talks about how he enjoys trampling on the weak, and then a giant crab shows up. Umi runs some more, and then I've watched the OVAs a couple of times, and the second time I listened to the dub, and my god, the dub voice for Umi's Rune God is fucking amazing. The other two were just like, I am a Rune God. I have things to say to you. But like Umi's running by the beach from a giant crab, going, I don't want to die alone. And then this voice goes, are you afraid to die alone? Like, now again, after she goes, what? And then his voice goes, you had friends who understood you, so you hid your conceit and vanity. And so then you look at the subs, and it just says you had friends, so you were able to get by. It doesn't mention conceit and vanity. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, so it's like, who knows what the actual line was.
Yeah.
But now, for 5 easy payments of $9.95.
No, yeah, that's what it sounds like. He sounds like he's selling you the concept of a Rune God.
Sweet.
And your relationship with your friends. And so it becomes... She has a flashback to the umbrella incident and then like she sees Fu was the one who walked up and offered to walk with Hikaru because Umi didn't have the courage to speak to Hikaru or something.
Okay.
But then, like, Makona, she remembers that, like, yeah, we were friends. Or no, Makona gives her ovum. He just shows up, he's just there, and he gives her the ovum.
I think so.
And then a Sri dragon appears and starts beating up the crab. Fu gets to the stadium, it was covered in bugs, but now she's in the stadium. Umi talks about how she wants to see herself clearly. What?
Fu gets to the stadium. It was covered in bugs.
I'm just telling you what happens, man.
But now she's in the stadium.
I'm just telling you what happened. Like, I'm sorry, but this is as much as I got when I was watching it. Like, it doesn't really stop to examine anything. It's such a weird riff.
So now this one broke. Okay, I'm good. Okay, it was covered in bugs, but now
she's in the stadium.
Proud of her, I'm happy for her. You go, girl.
Anyway, so yeah, Umi's motivation is she wants to understand who she really is so she can be a better friend, which...
Sure.
Okay, like...
Yeah, all right.
This thing is full of these sort of slightly half-formed ideas about the things they have to learn about themselves in 5 minutes. You know, it's sort of, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, just to keep things in sync with the other series, we see Alcyone, who's like just chained up by someone, and she asks Eagle for another chance because she just wants to serve the princess and Cephiro. And so Eagle sends her to hell and she dies. Yeah. She goes to this land of the dead where every other Cephiran citizen is.
Oh, damn.
Because it turns out Eagle killed everyone on Cephiro. We'll find that out later.
Oh.
But yeah.
Damn.
Anyway, so Fu and Umi have got their spirit beast now and they team up. They both get in their mechs and they're fighting the other person. Like, Ferio's got a big bug and Ascot's gotten into his big crab and they punch each other up a little bit.
This is making me think of Dragon Guard 3.
A little bit. Hikaru's still in the labyrinth, but like she gets to see the fight and Lantis is saying, you have to find the meaning in this battle before I let you out.
What even is your deal, dude? Who are you?
I don't know. Ascot lets slip that Hikaru might still be alive, so Umi just like throws him into an airport and he's dead. Or it seems to be dead.
Nice.
Ferio's still hesitating to kill Fu, even though he's got the edge on her, and Fu points that out.
Yeah.
That doesn't go anywhere. Hikaru is watching going, wow, they're fighting for me. And then she says, the reason we're friends is because when I suffer, they suffer. And so then she gets to pop out and now they're all together.
That's not Okay, edgy shoujo, whatever you say.
Escort pops up again, and he seems to have changed. He's talking weird, but the eagle's little crow bird thing is flying above him. So suddenly Escort is kicking their ass when he really couldn't before. Meanwhile, Ferio, who survived his thing being blown up, bumps into Lantis. Ferio's cracked the shits with Lantis, saying, "You defied the princess. You know, we were just trying to make her wish come true." And Lantis is like, "Do you think this is her wish? Everyone's being manipulated."
Yeah, what did they think her wish was?
I don't. No one's actually said it so far. Anyway, the three girls team up and they blow up Escort, but they also feel bad about it. And you see his hat just sort of float to the ground. He's dead.
Doesn't even have an ascot.
They go looking for Clef. Turns out he was fine. And he explains what was now he explains what was happening with Cephiro and why it's here. So it turns out the story is completely different this time.
All right, this better be a good explanation, fucker.
Okay, I'm sorry, Cube. Okay. See if this satisfies you.
All right. Explain everything.
Cephiro was protected by a race of spirits, but the spirits dwindled and the world fell to bits. So they thought the best way to fix this was by running an ancient pact that involves Zagato killing himself, which engraved a wish that no one could fulfill onto the hearts of everyone in Cephiro. The trouble was that they just mentioned this like straight after this bit. Love between spirits and humans was forbidden, but Emerald and Zagato were in love, and now somehow this has got something to do with Emerald's dream that everyone is trying to fulfill. Now, it also turns out that second part is mostly bullshit.
Blink, blink, blink.
It's at this point, it's just a riff. It's a half thought out riff.
So Emerald is like a spirit. She's one of these spirit things, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so Eagle is a spirit too because they're, siblings.
And Emerald what is Emerald doing during all this? Is she just kind of around?
She's just hanging out with this Zagato on a throne in this little cave and singing and kind of stroking his hand.
Okay.
That's all she's been doing so far.
But had he already killed himself?
We'll get into that. So there's something that they're hiding. Okay. So anyway, this other big rune god, the one that fought Hikaru before, shows up, and it's Zagato's, but that's weird because Zagato is dead. So why is this rune god here? And it turns out Eagle is running it. So the girls get zapped into this little room, and Eagle shows up there, and he takes the deities, the rune gods, away from them. He pulls them out of their gems, and he puts them in a little ball.
Oh, rude.
The ball turns into earth, but then the little ball blows up.
Damn.
And we cut to Emerald, and she screams.
Damn.
At this point, Hikaru learns that Emerald is living in a dream world where Zagato is still alive, and Eagle put her in there to protect her, to save her from her heart being broken or something.
Okay.
By the fact that he's dead. Lantis pulls them back out of that little space. Eagle starts attacking them with the ghosts of everyone on Cephiro that he killed.
That's rough.
Yeah. Lantis is fighting them off and he says, "I want you to entrust your future to my sword. You can save the soul of Zagato, who was tricked by the hand of fate." He tries to send them away, but Fu stays to help him fight off these spirits. Now, Eagle then explains that his actual motivation is he wants to kill everything in the universe because that way then the spirits get to die because the spirits have to watch over humans. But if there's no more humans, the spirits can die.
Oh, okay. That's sweet.
Yeah. Anyway, Ferio shows up and replaces Fu.
Wait, what do you mean he replaces Fu?
Well, Fu was helping Lantis fight off the spirits.
Oh, I see. He tags out.
Ferio's like, "Here, I'll do this. You go hang out with the girls." Because at this point, the girls, you know what they do? You know how we haven't had a mech called Rayearth so far?
They combine?
They combine into Rayearth.
Fuck yeah.
He's really big. And Rayearth punches the shit out of Eagle's mech in seconds. It is not a fight. It happens so quick.
Hella. It's about friendship, fucker.
They beg Emerald to wake up, but now then Eagle gets up and his mech has turned into a monster because the nightmare's even worse now or something. Lantis sees this and gives his sword to Ferio and then dissolves and puts himself in the sword.
Wait, I forget, is Lantis also a spirit?
No.
Okay.
He's just a dude.
He's just a dude with weird magic.
Yeah, so he puts himself in the sword, so then Ferio throws the sword to the mech and the sword's now huge.
Hella.
They hit Eagle with the sword.
Hit him with your boyfriend's sword.
There's no hint that those Eagle and Lantis were an item or anything in this version of the story.
Right.
Now, once they hit Eagle, Emerald starts hearing lines from earlier in the episode about what's actually happening. This sword attack wipes out all of the rune gods, and they're all just standing there, but Eagle's still here, and he's like, "I have magic, I'm going to kill you." But then Emerald wakes up and tells Eagle to knock it off.
Stop it.
Literally, that's what happened. She just wakes up and says, "Stop it.
Stop.
We have to start over." And he's like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yep." So he fades away, and then she fades away, and then the deities go, "See ya." And then Cephirans get on their castle, which is just Clef and Ferio at this point. They're the only ones left. And they go, we're going to go start again. Bye. And the castle fades away. And that's kind of the end.
Hey, wait, so why did Ferio do a face turn, I mean?
There's sort of a conversation between... It's really badly sketched, but there's sort of a conversation between him and Lantis, where Lantis explains that, like, you've all sort of been partially brainwashed by that thing where Zagato killed himself. I don't know why Lantis wasn't brainwashed, but everyone else kind of was into thinking that they had to do whatever Eagle told them. And so he kind of gets over that basically by hearing the truth that Clef mentions.
So, wait, what was Zagato killing himself supposed to accomplish again?
It was something that they're not really clear. It was just something about like this was an attempt to save Cephiro because it was falling to bits because the spirits were disappearing. But it didn't really work. I don't know. It just sort of didn't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I should have mentioned when the castle turns up, the castle morphed out of Tokyo Tower, and now when it leaves, Tokyo Tower is back, but everything around it is destroyed and rubble. None of that gets fixed, and so we cut to the girls graduating from middle school in a tent, and then they all say bye under the tree and just walk away, and that's the end of the OVA.
God, I want to watch it now.
I'm telling you, man, it's so fast, and I don't know why.
Yeah, this sounds so crazy.
It really was just like a riff, like I keep saying, but like they were just like, what if we take these characters and just kind of fuck with the story a bit? And it's like, wouldn't that be cool? I guess.
You weren't ready for evil, edgy Ferio. Bam.
Who ends up being good, or Eagle, who's just a bastard the whole time and not from Autozam, he's just from Cephiro, and
wild.
And Escort dies.
It somewhat reminds me of, it's interesting because Escaflowne, another girl isekai thing from the 90s, had a kind of similar vibe, but not quite like this crazy, but it was reimagining as a movie that I stan, though everyone else is like, it sucks because it's not like the show, but it's about depression and shit, so I like it. But it had that same vibe of like everything's fucked, everyone bleeds a shit ton. Wow, but there's still a shoujo romance, and you know, like it's still a shoujo, but damn, shit's all fucked. And so I don't know. I guess they felt like they needed to follow up all shoujo isekai with that kind of vibe for some reason.
Yeah, it just seemed like something they were into at the time. People they just like sort of a dark riff on the show.
Does some of it look cool, like all this like dark action OVA stuff? Because a lot of those ended up having like some like cool visuals and stuff.
It had obviously it had better visuals than the anime.
Yeah,
and did have some cool visuals at times. I never felt like it was like really super impressive what I was looking at, but it was good. But it wasn't amazing. Like
God.
It was, yeah.
And also the vibe of it reminds me a lot of X, that series that they never finished, because that had, I need to watch the movie of it, but it had a lot of that same like Tokyo Tower is super important and everyone's got crazy powers and everything's just constantly being destroyed and they have reality marbles and everything's fucked. Girl has a sword come out of her hands. Oh, it looks so gritty and stuff. And there's something fun about that to me.
It is fun. It's just like compared to the manga, it is that thing of like the balance of how fast you are rushing through all of this stuff did start to get to me in this version.
Oh yeah, it sounds utterly unhinged.
yeah. It's just sort of it's not. It isn't even necessarily that it's unhinged. It's just that because like with a bit more time, like you could have made this thing flow a little better and make more sense. It's just it just has to move so fast that like the girls working at their little friendship things this time is just like it's so like really quickly established and then solved, and the sort of the like particularly like the fucking Hikaru getting put in a labyrinth was just like such a fucking half-assed. Okay, here you go.
We need her to be separated for this part of the plot or whatever.
Yeah. So like a guy who was trying to help them separates them for her own good or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just sort of I don't know.
God, I like it though. I like knowing that it's out there and it's just like, why does this exist? Anime went crazy sometimes. I don't know, man. Shit's nuts.
It definitely falls into that sort of category. Anyway, yeah, that's Rayearth.
That's Rayearth. Rayearth is many things.
It is. It's a lot of things at once.
That's Clamp for you. Anyways, that was great to hear about and to go down memory lane for the parts I remember and to learn crazy new things for the parts I didn't.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Thank you for telling me about it.
We'll talk to you guys later, but in the meantime,
have a nice end of